Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to episode number 3 of the Scottish Bodybuilding Podcast. We are here with Aberdeen's funniest and most pleasurable and top dogs, Pete and Rob.
Hello.
They are the head honchos behind GCBB, Granite City Bodybuilding. If anyone is watching this and lives under a rock within Scottish bodybuilding, get to know, guys. These guys are doing amazing things for Scotland, for Scottish bodybuilding, and Calvin and I are both incredibly appreciative to have them on board. And again, couldn't think of a better set of guys to have as our first guest. So thank you very much. We're currently a week out from the Granite City Classic.
Yes,
how are you boys feeling today?
Buzzing. Very excited.
Yeah. A good chunk of time in the car there on the drive down, getting to go through all the finer points.
So if people don't know, these boys are obviously up in Aberdeen, and this is getting filmed in Airdrie. So that was a 3.5 hour drive.
Nah,
dedication.
Pete shaved some time off.
Okay, then there we go.
And we are paying them to be here, by the way. I'm only kidding.
We're getting paid for this?
I am.
On top of that, Rob was working particularly late last night, man. Looking devilishly handsome, not quite so as crisp but as fatigued as what I was expecting.
3M finish, yeah. Modafinil's the one.
Should have seen him a couple of years ago.
I got the modafinil.
I say, we were 2 dunts of rise and shine in this morning.
Yeah.
Already in with the pit stop plug.
I dry scooped it.
Oh, God.
dry scoop, rise and shine.
I've actually got some in here as well.
Yeah.
That
solves
solves the plug for the day.
They're dry scooping, but the boys from Aberdeen do not mess about.
No, we massively rely on it come show day. So that plus modafinil,
I think
we're
we're like
like
4 tubs for the team.
Yeah,
Good. Just
we're
Tub
across
for the
the judges
judges,
panel.
tub for the staff,
Yeah.
tub for the security.
So good.
Tub for us.
It's so good.
Man, you just talked about dry scooping, and Taylor's in the room. Imagine his science brain is.
I'd imagine
I'm having a little bit of a stroke right now, boys. Can we go change the subject real quick, please? I might evaporate.
there's going to be so many optimal coaches being like, I can't believe we just dry scooped. What a loser.
The bioavailability of that is horrendous. When you've done that.
Yeah.
Do as you please. It's to be enjoyed, but I think it tastes absolutely fantastic, man. See the new one.
It sounds like a
berry
plug,
cherry.
but the new flavour is actually
The
banging.
cherry one's banging.
Mate, that's
I very rarely speak about supplementation because like all pre-work tastes terrible.
Yeah.
All pre-workout tastes terrible. Like whatever way is sexy for you and works, like smash it. But that stuff's like it's legit, like formulated brilliant, and it tastes this. So
You guys want to taste
really
ass? You guys should try the engineered muscle. It's like the turbo drive or turbo pump.
I've got
Dude,
that. That's
I
cat
think
piss.
that is actual piss.
It is so rough, but I found it really useful. I was like banging.
I usually find
I did dry scoop it. I'm gonna be honest. I did dry scoop it.
I was always brought up with the fact that if it tastes bad, it's usually good for you.
Aye. But it's like that chemical sort of side to it.
Yeah, I don't think it mixes well with supplements because usually
Looks
they
like
just
piss.
taste bad and
Smells
just work
like piss.
badly. Yeah.
Probably is
There's a lot of
piss.
the definitely push. There's a lot of the engineered supplements. So there's a lot of them not so like the pre-workouts and whatnot. There's a lot of them not unflavoured.
Unflavoured just because of the tenderness it can have in your gut.
See, I use like the
Injectable series.
which I think is absolutely phenomenal. L-carnitine.
Yeah,
it's the only
have you guys tried
L-carnitine
any
that
of
sits
the
well.
I'm running L-carnitine just now.
Yeah,
Is
man.
it engineered muscles one
Yeah.
or just
So I
that is
got
like the,
some of the turbocharged V2 right first time. I didn't get anything the first one, mate.
No?
But I messaged Riz and the absolute gent that Riz has sent me a fresh one out, and the second one was working a treat.
Aye.
Working an absolute treat.
that's mad. Something
I've heard that about. I think someone else had that. Maybe Aaron Smith. I think he had a.
Oh, he's definitely he's got like a smorgasbord.
Mate, he put up like a. Oh, I just got my latest supplement drop in, and it's like his own supplement shop. And like, that's like a month's worth.
Yeah.
And I kind of thought to myself, I mean, not even like dissing the guy because he's phenomenal size for
When he
being a
gets
short
on
guy.
Can I
stage,
say
when he
something,
eventually
right?
gets on stage,
I remember the first time that I seen him. So it was Aaron Bullfrog. Shout out to you. I do really enjoy the boy. It was Phil.
Yeah,
and some
alright.
other boy.
Yeah.
They were doing side lateral raises. And these boys have got fucking smelling salts.
Yeah.
When they're doing
Oh,
fucking
yeah.
side lateral raises.
Yeah.
Mate, do
Bro,
not fuck around.
I've never seen anything more fucking raw dog
He's
in my
so
life.
strong. He's so fucking
from
strong.
Aberdeen?
Oh,
Yeah.
aye.
sounds like
yeah.
So he got
smelling
he
sounds
prepped,
lateral raise.
he
I
prepped
like it.
last year and he got a bunch
brutal.
of things went wrong a
2
couple of
weeks
weeks
out,
out.
something like
Yeah,
that.
but he looked mental.
I think he got shingles.
He got
Like
shingles.
2 weeks out from a shot, and we were fucking.
And he was
buzzing to
like,
see him
Did
on
they still
stage.
come? Did they
But his
still
quads
come?
are like
Couldn't.
his quads are like that, and he's like,
Aye.
"Sorry, Aaron." He's like 5'1".
He's tiny.
I don't actually know who you're talking about. It's
Yeah.
Yeah.
so he's just like a ball, like a dense ball almost.
Yeah.
mate,
I was trying to, like, obviously we got engineered muscle on board coming up to the show.
I've seen this.
And then we announced that the engineer was giving out, was it 350 quid or something like that? For like, basically
the most
a pile of
muscular
products
award.
for the most muscular guy. And I was like, yeah, Aaron,
Get on.
I don't suppose, And he's like, oh, well, and this was like January. And he obviously just come off that last prep not long ago.
Quick one. There's this boy I've seen, he's working with Martin Winston. He's bald. I'm going to assume he's Polish. He looks Polish. He trains at a warehouse. I don't know his name, but he's looking insane. I've never seen him before, but I mean,
Raphael?
I'm up quite often anyway, so I know faces and names.
We know the guy you mean, but none of us can pronounce his name.
I think he's in between us and in between Warehouse and Inverness, I believe.
Do you mean,
if it's the same guy,
do you mean Raphael?
Raphael?
I don't know.
That guy?
If Raphael is that's who it is, and he looks insane. That's the thing with Aberdeen, man, is that you boys are just getting more and more good boys. There's a lot of young boys as well that are up and coming, and I certainly think that the buzz surrounding Granite, which is then feeding into the Scottish industry, is fueling that, man. And you guys are a huge part to play in that, man.
And I think, sorry to interrupt. I've said this a couple of times to a couple of people and various things. That a huge part of why we decided to put the show on was because of the talent that is in the north of Scotland. Like everything from kind of no disrespect to the Southern clan, if you like, but everything from
I'll say it. Fuck them.
Yeah, but there wasn't in my eyes there wasn't a banger of a show for Scottish athletes. Like that whole fly down to London,
brutal,
head out to Maidenhead, and like that expense for somebody from Scotland to compete, like, it was blew my mind. And there were so many like Andy Scott's from Aberdeen. Aaron Taylor's just up the road in Fraserburgh.
Aaron Thompson,
sorry. There's so many like elite level athletes in Scotland, and in the amateurs, like everyone's like, there's always some guy training out of like Dingwall Leisure Centre. You're like, where did you come from? Like, you ever thought about competing? Oh well, I don't really want to have to go to Birmingham to get on a stage. Like maybe, like there wasn't like a show. So because of the talent in Scotland, like that's what pulled me to be like, I need to do this.
There's a market for it. You've seen that, and you've went. Look how well it's turned out.
And just out across to see from your history competing, was there any lasting impressions that you decided, okay, I'm going to try and do this. I'm going to kind of put my take on it.
Yeah. So I basically I'd helped run a small show in Inverness called the Highlands and Islands. I'd helped Gavin behind the scenes running that show, and I had like a bunch of suggestions. And Gavin was very like, this is how I want to run it. And it was a very low maintenance thing. It was cool. I was like, this could be this, but that would then involve a lot more work on his end. He was a very busy guy.
Sorry to interrupt. Is that Gavin that used to own
Forge? Yeah, Gavin Laird.
Perfect.
Yeah.
So I feel like I can remember, but I can remember a very young Cammy Duncan on the front of a poster somewhere.
Yeah, that's him. Yeah.
Is it? Yeah.
He was on the front of our poster.
There's Jack as well, young Jack and Josh
Jack,
Giggles.
yeah.
So in Cammy's, Cammy was on as a junior, and then you had Chris Bain, Jack, and another guy.
Bro, it's fucking hilarious, by the way. See, to this day, Chris still posted the group chat reminding Jack that he beat him. 6 years ago, man. Every year.
Yeah. Never let it go, Chris.
Birthday,
never let it go.
Christmas, Hanukkah. By the way, bro.
Keep Jack humble.
That's hilarious.
Yeah. Oh, brilliant. That was class. I help just run the behind the scenes, like, hey, go find this person, I can't find them, yada yada. So I helped with that, and then I basically had spoken at the Federation about putting the show on, and they were like, yeah, 100%, go for it, pull the trigger. And I was like, I think I can do this. I'm not going to say better, but I think I can do this different, and I was willing to put more into it. And I was competing that year, so I was like, I can't compete and put on a show. That's not fair on the athletes and stuff. So popped it off till a year later, and then spoke to a bunch of people. Some people said I was retarded and that wouldn't work. And one guy was like, we should totally do that. Because Pete used to be a pretty big DJ back in the day. So
I remember that.
Like, I've been to enough shows in school halls to be like, the music production is horrendous. Like, there's shows that had elements of it. So like Jimmy's Lochgelly show, for instance, like that had like a good pop and a good atmosphere and stuff. But then as Jimmy's show got smaller, like I felt like that was gone from the Scottish scene, and that's a big part of who we are as a nation, man. that
That atmosphere
there's
that we
no,
bring.
there's no
We
crowd
are-
like Scotland.
There is not.
So why would you?
There is
why
not,
would- yeah. So I was like, I can do this better for athletes, competitors, because again, like you look after the competitors, they look after the show. That's how it works.
Yep.
So I was like, I'm going to use the AC/DC Thunderstruck thing, Peter. So every show I've ever been to in my life, right, I hear AC/DC Thunderstruck, and I love that song. I love it to death. It's
a great
but
track.
if you hear it 6 times in one show, like, what are you doing, pal?
Yeah, right.
And the other thing is
Can we touch on the BCA
Sack the
pose
DJ.
down? the 60-second pose down.
And then-
Yeah,
and then
it makes me want to throw myself off the fucking Fourth Road Bridge.
it's like we obviously do things differently, but like, so imagine, and this is where we've got an advantage. So if I was to put a drum and bass track onto the Masters men's, they'd all look at me like, wait, what's this, mate? Like, what are you doing?
Got
But
Pavarotti lined up.
Yeah, but if I put, Kickstart My Heart by Motley Crue on, they're like,
Aye.
this is my
Let's
job.
go.
And away they go.
But it just seems like a very simple thing to do, because it's almost like, right, what do these people probably listen to in the gym that get them amped up?
Aye.
We're not going to put on fucking Rob calls it house every weekend, basically any house track
How's every weekend?
for like a Masters men's.
Well, think about it. What do you pose to in the shower? You know what I mean? What tune do you have on? You're like, yeah, this would be great. Like, that's the track.
It's
That's,
so-
the
it's so
track
true.
we use.
Yeah,
That's
that's
the
so
track
true.
we use.
Absolutely.
That kind
Absolutely.
of got me thinking. Right, random question. If you guys were to assign a song to each class to summarise it, what would it be?
Okay,
So
so
let's
we've
do,
got it all written
let's,
down.
do
Yeah.
let's do men's physique. Let's do bikini. Let's do men's physique. Will be
Right,
good. Well, let's do
okay,
that till the
yeah.
end because we could just go
Okay,
hard at
let's
that
do
one.
it.
But hold on a minute here.
Let's try and go a cappella and we'll just rattle off what's in our head. So, yeah, fire away. What class?
Right, let's do men's bodybuilding. Open bodybuilding.
Class 1,
5 finger death punch.
5 finger death punch. So, like the Pittsburgh Pro, Arnold Classic, Rammstein, maybe, things like that. So, when the big boys come out,
makes
I
sense.
put on big boy music.
It's got to be something.
Yeah.
Classic.
Oh, what would I put on? Or what would you put on?
I think we've got like sort of 80s rock and roll there.
Aye.
Go something like that.
But Heart.
Queen, things like that as well. Heart, yeah. Power ballads is how I
Aye,
go.
power ballads.
But then it depends. Is it a class? Is it for the? Is it us picking music for everyone, or is it the pose down track? So the pose down track generally has to be a bit livelier. So we probably go with something. Let's say Kickstart My Heart, Motley Crue, or something. So it gets a bit livelier for the pose down. But if I was picking tracks for people, it'd probably be Queen, Show Must Go On, things like that. Creed. Pop a bit of Creed on.
Yes.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
That's like one of the most popular tracks nowadays.
Yeah. Get those mustaches
Oh,
wagging.
man.
Mullets flowing in the wind.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Bikini.
J-Lo.
Taylor
Get
Swift.
right.
I seen you guys are doing wellness.
Yeah, we've
We
had
are,
that
yeah,
in this
yeah,
year, yeah.
Amazing, boys.
Aye, this is good. This
That's
is good. Well
so
done.
bloody good.
I'm not even kidding, right? It's one of our most popular classes.
Doesn't surprise
I've
me.
seen a lot of wellness athletes prepping for the
Yeah,
like this
yeah.
is incredible.
So it's like that.
But
If you build it, they will come. So we've been asked a couple
yeah.
of times over the years, but like I think first year nobody asked. Second year one person asked. Next year a couple of people asked us. And what I do is so I think I said this in my speech last year. Like I know if you're cheating on your diet. I know if you haven't done the work. Like I know what people are going to look like before they come out on stage because of the amount I am on that Granite page. I forget my fucking train of thought. But wellness, I knew like roughly where the tide was with that class in Scotland, like what was coming through.
Yep.
And I didn't want to just be like, we're just going to throw like fat bikini girls up there because like no
Absolutely.
disrespect it, man, but it's a class.
Yep.
Like you need to have muscular lower half. You need to have conditioning. You need to have the presentation, the posing down. And like last year is the first year where I was like, this is a thing now. This has made it to Scotland. Like if we build it, it's going to take another wee step up. So let's see if we can squeeze it in. So we're really limited for time at the venue. We're really, really limited for time. So they're like, if you're past like 1 minute past this time, it accumulates like double time for all their staff, so sound engineers, everything. So really push for time. I was like, I think we can shoehorn this in. So that was the thinking behind putting it in, and it's going to be a banger of a class this year. So.
Aye, no, that's good. It's good as well. You've kind of touched on there. In regards to wellness, you do see it's kind of like almost a out of shape bikini girl. You see a lot of them on stage.
Yeah, and I don't want to be negative about it, man. Like,
no, but it's
jump
the truth.
on stage,
Yeah,
guys. Jump on stage. But I also think this is a legitimate class.
Absolutely,
That-
100%.
that people
Well,
want to.
the legitimate professionals are insane.
Ridiculous.
The
I
caliber of
think
the
it's-
athletes.
Absolutely. I think it's the most impressive class. So it's see just that density for the lower body and then the upper body as well. That's completely brought in too. But it's just that density that they sweeps through the lower body. And then how much they bring in the upper body alongside it. It's almost like there's obviously a massive genetic component to something like wellness as well, man, understandably. It's just like how can you carry that level of low body density there whilst bringing in the upper body so much as well. I think it was honestly, figures obviously highly impressive as well, but I just think, I don't know, there's something about wellness.
There's
Sure, a
something,
lot of
something
guys
for me
like
in
it.
my head as well about what it must take to, well, you know about this. So programming. How do you program that athlete? Like, is it 4 lower days a day and 1 upper?
As much as what they can really
Aye.
recover
Do
from.
they
100%.
do they go full retard on lower days and then they maybe take foot off the gas in the uppers? Like how?
So I've got a wellness athlete, so I do. She's up and coming. She's going to compete at the Granite as well. Big up Shannon Baxter. She's killing it. She's packed on a
Big
hell
up
of a
Shannon
lot.
Baxter.
She's coming
Thank
to
you.
the Granite 2020. Keep it quiet now. It's coming. So we typically ran. We got a very good, and everybody's going to be different from this, but we typically ran 1 on, 1 off.
Yeah.
So we did. So it would be like a wee bit of lower lats and delts, and she could only really recover from the 1 on, 1 off. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
So it's
yeah.
like 3, depending on how the split would roll, maybe 4 sessions per week.
okay.
I think a lot of females as well. They just maybe depending on, obviously you need a good upper body as well. Do you know what I mean? It's not that you can just take all the intricacies out of the upper body as well. Wellness athletes do need a good upper body, but we typically program 1 on, 1 off, and that was the kind of the best we took for her. But I've got another girl as well who's kind of shooting in that direction as well. She's got like 1 upper session in there per week too, so it's going to be completely down to what the individual can recover from.
obviously.
You typically find like 1 on, 1 off can be a good kind of way to run it.
A fire question at you
Over
guys.
a period of
Uno
time.
reverse. Right. So classes you guys compete in. So open bodybuilding, men's physique.
Men's physique.
Right. So if you
Bit
could
like
pick,
that, sir.
yeah, I'm going to hit men's physique next year. Yeah.
Let's go.
And I'm clearly going to do classic, tall, open,
Masters.
2, 1, 2.
Yeah. Right. So pick a track. So if you guys could pick a track to pose down to, what would it be? Now, I love this type of
I
feedback.
like Rammstein's song. Is it Son?
Sauna.
Son?
Yeah.
Sauna? I like that.
Yeah.
Or Deutsch, is it Deutschland?
Deutschland, yeah, that works, yeah.
Pretty sure that's in there.
I don't know about, see that mustache plus that track. Don't know if that'll go for well.
Don't go any thinner. Just don't go any thinner.
Don't go trimming it in any. No.
Careful where you're posing as well.
Throw my heart out to you guys. there.
Fucking recorded. See, let's not get fucking recorded. That'd be fucking
Cancel
throwing them up
Taylor.
all the time.
We're talking about that on the way in the
Cancel
down.
Taylor.
He was obviously like talking about what he was going to, like his speech at the start of the thing. He's like, I wonder if I do that. And I was like, shite bag if you did it. I was like, you have to.
Thank you for coming, guys. I really appreciate it.
I'll be supporting you. I'll be in the crowd. Give me another one.
Yeah.
Keep that hand down.
Yeah.
Jail. Right, so Rammstein.
Yeah, I don't know that.
This is the part that kills me about men's physique.
Stormzy.
You die, Stormzy.
Stormzy.
The part that kills me about men's physique is you don't actually get to pick a posing song. See, we were talking earlier about what would you pose to in the shower. Like, I've got songs I've got on in the shower. I'm hitting a couple of. I can't even hit a front double bicep to men's physique. Do you know what I mean? You can't.
Finger cannons.
I don't. I just keep it like that. I keep it like that. Listen, I would see if I never had like the terribly bad sciatica from building size and I could push leg volume a little bit. I would 100%. I would go classic.
Pursue the big ones.
100%.
Yeah.
It's just when now it's a lot more set. We've kind of found a little bit of a rhythm with it. But like I would train legs and I couldn't fucking walk right for like a month after it, and it was ultimately like you've no choice. You kind of need to do men's physique. Do you know what I mean?
But at the same time, though, you're incredibly well suited to it just now.
100%.
Your
No,
lower
I'm
has
not going to
crept
say.
up from a
The
density
tan.
perspective.
You've got the hair. Like,
Men's
You're
physique
there,
into
man,
it.
you're there.
I remember the first time when I competed, I walked out, it was actually at a Two Bro show, and he walked out, and I just literally just got veneers done, so I did. And the guy was, who was it?
Ian Constable.
Ian. It was like, what was it I said? Because your face is all sunk in, home prep, my teeth were hanging out my head. He's like, if I ever seen the teeth that were suited to men's physique, that's them there. And I was like, cheers, man, my first time on stage. You've just embarrassed me in front of my full family.
You've got a cracking set of teeth, though, bro. Come on.
Thank you.
That reminds
No
me, I need to get my
turkey,
teeth
baby.
done for next year.
No turkey.
Oh, you considering it?
Huh?
You get your teeth done?
I probably couldn't get my teeth done. I'd get like Invisalign or something like that. I couldn't get
Tigger,
them.
my guy's going international with the work at the minute. You'll be raking it in, Brer.
Yeah, but I just
You
I
get
can't.
teeth, tits, nails,
The lot.
whatever you want.
I just
man.
can't like
Get
get them
ab
shaved
implants.
down though. It's good,
No,
total
this
fear,
is the
you
thing.
know what I
So
mean?
see where I went. I got them done in Scotland. It's only in Turkey they do that. No, this is literally just
Oh, like
Emax
crowns.
veneers.
Yeah, yeah.
So basically over the top of the teeth, which is more suited because there is going to be a guarantee on them where eventually they will come out. So if they start falling out people's mouth, they're going to be left with these wee shark teeth in their mouth. So I was completely against that. I went to a place in Glasgow and got them done, and honestly, it was worked out.
The link will be
Link
in
is
the bio.
Get your discount CRM10.
Beat me to
CRM10
it.
for discount.
So anyway, boys, back to GCBB. So
Yeah.
obviously, this is now coming to the fifth one.
Yeah.
Every year, you guys have leveled the hell up, man. You guys have
Right,
taken.
man, yeah.
These are
You know,
done.
That's why the
Huge
feedback thing's
advancements.
important, man. So I listen to we listen to what everyone says. Like, you're never gonna make everyone happy. Like, there's people in there that will just whinge for the sake of whinging.
There was 2 people that weren't happy last year.
Man, I got
Two
some-
people out of how many though?
Yeah.
People are
There's
there
always
to
gonna be
complain.
like Karens,
There's people
and-
are born.
I think in the room in total, including athletes, we probably had close to 800 people last
Come
year.
on, man. That's
in a
insane.
building in
yeah.
Aberdeen, man.
That's
mind
insane.
blowing. Eh? Mind
So
blowing.
that's 600 and...
Aberdeen City Council sat there rolling their fingers, waiting for the bloody bus lane fines
Mate,
to come in.
they're talking about closing the ballroom, eh?
Yeah, they were talking
Did you
about
hear
closing the
about that?
ballroom,
Really?
and then,
Yeah.
yeah, they were
What,
going to
because
mob
of that?
they were-
Yeah,
no,
my council tax has just gone up 9.58%.
but the ballroom
And they were
stays
still talking
open,
about it.
so
So not to worry.
Thanks,
the ballroom.
Aberdeen. Thanks, Aberdeen.
yeah. So yeah, they were thinking about putting it up for sale, mothballing it. We were actually looking at buying it, maybe. And we went in, I think 2-3 weeks ago to speak to them, and they basically been told like, "Oh no, you're good." Like that was like something that was on the table, but it's not a thing. And they've been given a couple of $100,000 to make improvements because
Great.
Amazing.
like you guys have competed, and I can say this, but it's our show. But like, have you ever seen a venue like that?
It's an epic victory. When I first walked, that was the first time I was at it last year, and I walked in, I was like, "Geez, you've got a balcony. You feel like royalty almost. You're like, this is fucking incredible. I love
awesome.
this."
And you know what's
It is
great?
The full
So see
production is
when-
just
so
so
I
good.
liked when PC did the galvanizer, right? It was cool, right?
Yeah.
But like it was so narrow.
Yeah.
was too
Like
tight,
I
man.
can remember
It was too
I was
tight.
standing at the front with like Blair and my boys.
Yeah.
Had Tyler competing. I seen you. It was just such a narrow
People
tunnel,
were
but
just
because the
squeezing
shape.
past.
Yeah.
It's like a big circle. You can get around so much
Literally just
easier.
walk right
You guys
round.
have got vendors there, which is easy
And
access.
you got the vendors in the building
They're
as well.
in the actual building, which
Yeah.
I think from a sales perspective and an exposure perspective on their end, you know, people can just dart in and out
And
instead
a lot of these people are supportive of bodybuilding and the show, but want to see the shows, like something as simple as that. So, like, I mean, we would love to take our clobber range to different shows, but I'd also want to be able to see the show because I'm a bodybuilding fan first. and
Absolutely.
foremost. Yeah.
And also, it's tough to get to other shows where our schedules. He works every weekend, and I can be away at times as well. So it's very, very difficult.
I think we're gonna make PCA this year. Support Stephen Cassidy, go down. We probably owe him a thanks for formulating Rise and Shine. So
Yeah, he's
go
done
down,
well.
support the PCA. There's another thing is like, I mean, I lost my voice last year. I don't know about you, screaming for people from Aberdeen, like Derek Wilson and stuff in Masters.
I think I had about 30,000 steps. I must have lost about 8 kilos that day. I was running about the place.
I didn't eat. I was too nervous. When you
It's
think
like,
people
it's like
beat
the
as well, you just don't
time
eat then, you know.
we had Greg posing, and it was like apparently it was like the wrong music, and I'm way up the back. So where the sound booth and the lighting booth is, it's up the top of the balcony, right up the back. So apparently it was the wrong music. So Rob's like, "Pete Canella, please report to side of stage," and I'm like, "Fucking $6 million man across the balcony." I was like, "What's up?" And he showed me his phone. He's like, "Yeah, this is his music here." It was a fucking voice note on WhatsApp. And I'm like, "Sorry, are you for real?"
Imagine you played it. Just peaking
sloppy
pro.
shoulder.
20 milligram of super
Okay.
pre-stage halo.
I guess it's my fucking problem now.
Greg's like, I haven't eaten since this morning, so I can hit a vacuum. And I'm like, give me a second. He's like, I think I'm going to pass out. I'm like, right, okay, let's put it off till after the interval, shall
Yeah.
we? Yes, please. Cool.
So we do have a very good musical team on board. So I think that year was Dylan McPhee. He's an enormous commercial DJ up in Aberdeen. Very, very skilled at what he does. So I literally sent him the voice note. He's like, "Yeah, that's it sorted." I'm like, he's better than me.
Bastard. Fucking dick.
You ever seen,
discipline.
sorry, rant, like I live quite a lot of my work life relating to movies and movie quotes. That's how we do things. It's daft. It's how we communicate. It's our
This
love
is-
language, Peter.
This is the way.
This is the way.
I'm kind of like that with my big brother as well, by the way. Like movie quotes, we always just bounce off.
You ever seen Armageddon?
Aye, I love that movie.
Nah,
Bruce Willis.
yeah, Bruce Willis, right?
Come
It's
on.
an old movie, that's fine. I'm an old man.
I can remember this is like Is he
I
like
could
is it
stay
like alien? No, it's
awake.
not aliens.
Just
No, I'm thinking about Independence Day with.
Yeah.
Oh, that's what
Like,
I'm
yeah.
singing. Is that
Yeah.
Aerosmith for Independence Day? Am I singing? Fucked it.
2 seconds. No, that's you've got the right movie. Yeah,
Right, I
yeah.
got it.
So
Aerosmith. That's a good classic.
so in
song.
Armageddon, they hunt down Bruce Willis because he's the best in his trade, and he's like, I'm the best in my trade because of the people I work with, and they're the best. So I'm like, oh Rob, your show's this. I'm like, yeah, I'm like the engine, but like I couldn't do it without Pete.
No.
Pete couldn't do it without the musical team. We couldn't do it without the security team. We couldn't do it without Callum. We couldn't do it with the media team, Luke and stuff. Like, so we're only as good as the people, the team. Like, and fuck, before any of that, like without the bodybuilders committing to coming to our show, we would be nothing.
Absolutely.
So I'll put everything I can into them first and foremost, and the team. And that's how it works, man. Like, you got asked last year at a show, like, hey man, by another promoter. Like, hey man, why's your show
Yeah, it
so
was quite a not so much a humbling conversation, but it was very interesting because I was at a certain show last year. I was on the road with Steph.
Name and
Noble.
shame.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, you can say what the fuck you want. Totally fine.
Am I allowed to do that?
Yeah, this is carte blanche, man. We just
Yeah,
say whatever.
nobody's watching, man. Nobody's watching. They're on episode 3. Nobody knows.
No, just
It's not the internet. It won't be forever.
Well, I was at the BPA
Yeah.
last year, so we were at the
They're on
IBFA
today.
Scottish.
They're on today, man.
Yeah.
They're on today.
I was at the IBFA Scottish with Steph Noble. So we basically made a weekend of it, stayed down in Dundee, and then went to the BPA the following day. And then I got pulled through half time, like to like the judges sort of eating in the back. And I met the president, which is Helen Panther Smith. It's the first time I met her.
From Gladiators.
Oh, well.
Yeah.
The
Why she's
Panther.
Panther.
Yeah, the Panther.
You can be honest, that's well.
No, it's actually her.
Holy shit.
Yeah. I can't wait till Wolf sets
What,
up a
Panther for the
bodybuilding.
90s?
Yeah.
Or the new Panther?
And she asked me, she was like, so why did people go to your show and not this one? Because I think I counted like 26 on their stage.
Yeah.
And we'd had 105 on 2 weeks previous.
Jeez.
And I was like, well, we've got a Rob Rose, you know what I mean? Because like on stage,
Right, I'm just going to quickly tell you my experience of BPA, right? So I have a client, Mikey, I think it was like 2 years ago doing it, right? And see the halftime show? They had Ross Kerr
Right.
come and do a pose to like Flower Scotland whilst
Okay.
2 women in stripper poles danced.
Holy shit.
What the fuck?
Right, okay.
They were clothed, but they were dancing, and it's like, what the fuck is going on here, man?
So
and then they're sat there,
can
like,
we
I
do
don't
that?
know why we're not doing it.
No.
Can you just make that happen with the Granite, please?
Is that not the after event?
I'm asking
guys?
for a friend.
Is that an after event?
That's fucking crazy.
Oh,
isn't it?
bro, why is
That's
it not a
wild.
GCBB after party?
That
there
should
was
happen.
there was a few times, but everybody's on prep, nobody shows up.
It ends up with a very burnt out Rob sitting in
Yeah.
the corner, like,
Jack Daniels.
Jack Daniels steak dinner.
yeah,
Top
man.
hat.
We don't even have dinner, we're like straight on drinks usually after.
Nobody
And then-
talk to me.
Well,
Nobody talk to me.
Yeah, we usually rent out a bit in like Rev or Cuba. But then, yeah, not very many people show up. It's like obviously everybody's travelled for it.
Bring
And it's the start of the
back.
season, usually like one of the
Right at the start
first
of the
shows of the
season, yeah.
season.
This year we're gonna go for some dinner after, but it's just like I don't want to go get canned and be around hundreds of people because my brain is fried by the end of the day.
Yeah, so it's more just this year's more just a debrief because it's been a hell of a
Sit
year.
down with the team.
One hell of a
and
year.
Yeah.
I like so Pete's process is probably slightly different from mine, I would say, when it comes to the show. So immediately, like we shut the doors, boom. Pete is like, yes, like we fucking slam dunked it,
right.
yeah.
Tattooed right,
And
man.
I'm
You must
like,
be proud.
some stuff went wrong today. How could it improve? And it's like a horrible. Like it's probably not the right way to do
You
it. but I
probably
think-
need that though because it keeps
I
you
do.
both grounded.
Yeah, and I
Like,
say
see if you
to
get caught up at just chasing all the time.
and the money shot. The money shot for me is the media because I think I know what happened, but I'm up there and. Just to be clear, being up there on stage is not my natural habitat. I don't want to be there. The first year I wasn't there, and I was like, "This really needs to be said." And I didn't have a microphone. And then the second year I was like, right, "Give me a
I
microphone.
could not imagine anybody else.
I'm gonna say
like,
stupid stuff."
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do
Like,
so
I
well.
know these two women used to, fancy the same guy, and you went with that.
That's
And, I'm
good.
like, and I know they hate each other, so I know there's gonna be atmosphere. I'm like, "Who have you got, guys?"
But see how the way you are, I don't think you understand, and competitors have said this who've stepped on the Granite stage, just how relaxed you make the competitors feel when you're acting like that. Whereas see some shows, it's so intense, like two bro shows, like a game of snooker.
I've been lucky enough to be
Game of snooker.
backstage.
Somebody cheers and they're looking at you like,
One of the athletes cough and then
I've been lucky enough to be backstage just at the
Yeah.
start of the day.
Yeah, yeah.
And you both come up and you say some words and just puts everyone at ease, man. You know how you guys speak to the athletes,
Yeah.
how you talk to them,
So, mate,
how you
it's-
behave in front of
It's
them.
such a small factor of the day, but it is
But the thing
so
is, it's not though,
important.
because people will feed off your energy.
Yeah.
And if you're sat there frantic, stressed, screaming, it's going to translate to them.
Yeah.
You know, people want calm. People want clarity of information. People want time scales.
Yeah.
And if you can just keep them calm, like the whole process runs easier.
Absolutely.
It makes our job a lot easier
Hell
as
of a
well.
lot
as
easier.
coaches.
Hell of a lot easier.
So we do our best, and you'll see that more and more every year because it's a learning curve for us. Like you've got like people out there running shows that are doing 20, 30 shows a year. We have one shot, like at hitting this moving target every year. One shot at it. So we do our best to mitigate as much stress for the athlete, the competitor, before the show happens. So like this year, I was like, I want to do a walk round of the venue for athletes. So you can literally see
Like a
this is
video?
where you go. This is where you. So there's literally a video you can watch, and you're like, this is where you walk. This is where the tanning will be. It's going to say, watch the YouTube video ahead of time, and then you get an exact idea how the show runs.
there was a YouTube video that was sent to me weeks ago.
There you go. There you go. And
At GCB UK on YouTube.
yes, yeah. Watch YouTube, like, subscribe, any of that stuff, and we'll keep putting stuff up there that makes it as simple as possible. So, like the tanning's really easy to book, the hair and makeup's really easy to book. We're really easy to get hold of and speak to. The venue, like we'll edit your music for you. Like we make it sounds daft. But everyone a week out from a show is an idiot, and I know some people
No,
will
you're
be
right,
upset
but
about that.
heads are
But
going.
everyone is a bit of a retard. Like so, we'll take all that stress off you. So then, when you arrive, this is where you need to be. Do your thing. Like, you've got X amount of time on stage. Go give it everything you've got. And when you come on stage, I'll do everything I can and make you feel at ease. And if you need hype, if you need a lift, I'll make them say something, do something. Like I'll get it out of this crowd for you.
Yep.
And they have a better time. Crowd has a better time.
Yep.
And what I would say is, from
good.
experience, I've seen you just read the situation very well. If there's a competitor that feels a little bit easy, if there's maybe people a little bit quieter, like you guys are very dynamic in terms of the feedback you'll give to the crowd as well.
Try to.
Because, like, I can remember I've been on stage before with a busy class, I've been on stage before with a smaller class. You always want to be in a busy class, right? But see if there's nothing happening out in front of you. It's like you kind of want a little bit of feedback. You want to feel what the audience is doing because
you feed off of that as well, didn't you?
yeah.
It
Bear
gets
in
you
mind,
going, it
guys,
gets
see if
the
there's
flow going.
anyone watching this that just doesn't compete and goes to the shows. Like part of why we do it is for the buzz of actually getting on stage and just having a bit of energy behind us.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Because
Don't be afraid to scream the house down.
Yeah, man, and that's what I'm
Have
saying.
fun
Like, it's
with
such a beautiful experience. Like,
Aye.
people in the industry, or even over the fucking world, man, are so concerned about like protecting themselves and take care of themselves. But what you guys are doing is fabricating a beautiful atmosphere, an environment, and social structure where everyone can come together and support one another. And that's part of the reason why I think we are doing this as well and having boys like you on is because I want to see more from Scotland.
Aye.
Yeah,
I want to see because there's so many amazing people here, man. But people get egos in the way. People get the perception of
Bodybuilders in the way.
yeah, man. And it's like, we should all be fucking helping each other out, man, because it all feeds into the bigger picture. You know, like, you're sat there just launching the wellness class. I'm sat here thinking just now, right, in the next 3-4 years, there's going to be some fucking killers coming out potentially through you guys.
Yeah.
You know, when I look at these junior bodybuilders these days, remember being in that position.
Yeah.
You know, like, kind of being part of the kind of like younger to older guard now myself and moving on. You know, you've got your Andys, your Gregs, they've got a few years left. But I'm looking at the younger ones and like, what you guys are doing, and sort of getting so fucking hyped up about it, but it means so much to me.
Yeah.
But like, you guys are a massive driving force behind the success of this sport. And we wouldn't be doing how well we're doing without this sort of stuff. Because all fucking feeds into the bigger picture, man. It really, really does. Coaches should be pushing and supporting.
The rising tide lifts all ships. So if like now, I'm not being negative about other shows, man. I'm really not. Like, you guys do you. If you like Harry Ogg, for instance, he won't mind me saying this. He comes to the show every year with a notepad. Go for it, Harry. Like if you don't like what we do, cool, keep doing you. If you like what we do and you're like, why are you busy? Come to the show
And
come
find out,
watch.
man.
You'll see,
if
man.
there's stuff.
Exactly.
Put your own spin on it, obviously, man. Like you might not want to do some of the ridiculous shit we have planned this year.
Seriously.
But
We might get banned for it.
But you might
it's fine.
think, you might just think, maybe I shouldn't play AC/DC Thunderstruck
Thunderstruck.
6 times.
Yeah.
Do you know what I
Things
mean?
like
It's
that.
as simple as that.
Aye.
Like, man, come along. watch a show, take what you can away from it, and if like so what there's I don't know, I'd lose count. There's maybe 8 shows in Scotland now. If 4 of them get slightly better, put a bit more time and energy into it for the athletes, that brings them up. Which then forces us, to be honest,
to move. Aye.
Hey, we're fucking there.
Let's
They're
get
getting pretty
better.
busy.
But even then, even just these other shows developing and becoming better and probably more interesting than everyone else, it then becomes more, like from a business point of view, it becomes a more viable business. Because a lot of shows, I'm not going to say the other show, for instance, but 11 competitors, not an awful lot of people like, sat in your stands either.
Is this recent? Is this
very recent?
yesterday?
Yeah.
Right, okay.
But that can't be financially viable.
No.
So it's going to sink like very quickly. Now we've got GCB to a point where it's quite nicely sustainable. So it's no longer like it's coming out a little bit of our pockets recently because of things that we're planning on doing.
But that will
however,
come
it's
back
very
around.
well sustained.
Yeah.
So if it was
So we initially invested I initially invested a big chunk of my money to make sure it happened. And then COVID shuts down. Then we've resold, COVID shuts down. So like 3 times I think we remarketed and resold the show before we actually got to go. And then I think after the first year, maybe like broke even, maybe lost a bit of money. Second year, like just about broke even. Third year, we put more into the show. So again, we're like just kind of breaking even, and we just keep putting more in because we're not. It's a cheesy line, man, but we're not in this for the money. We're not. Like that's not what it's about.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
If I was in this for money, I would go and focus on my actual business because if I was to add up the amount of time and energy that I put into it alone, forget Pete's time because Pete could be offshore in the North Sea somewhere
Just to
earning
put a
250
reference,
quid
if
a day.
people listen, Rob does security work. You had your own kind of security training.
Yeah, so I have a training business and a security business.
Rob was actually working last night
Till 3 in the morning.
till 3 in the morning. So again,
What a guy.
massive.
But
credit
to be
him.
fair, Pete drove all the way. I've had a double dunt of rise and shine. I'm good to go.
Come on.
You've got
Sorry
about
to,
another 45 minutes out before I just...
sorry to like, go off on a tangent, right? But like
No, do
you
you?
were speaking about how this isn't about the money, right? And then now I'm thinking back to you as a person, right?
Yeah.
And I've only really kind of got to know you over maybe like the past 4 years, probably I've known you, but I can remember knowing you beforehand. Now, people might not know this, but you had cancer, I believe.
Yeah.
Okay.
Brief fight with Big C, yeah.
Right. And I want to know how that impacted your life and your decision making thereafter because you have your hands in so many fucking pies, bro. It's inspiring, mate. And for you to have been through that and to still persistently push yourself.
Yeah.
I don't know how long after the surgery was the first Granite, because I can remember, I don't know if it was that fresh, but like I can remember seeing you at the end of the day of the first one, and I was like, this guy looks like he's about to fucking die.
I was.
You look jaundiced,
literally,
you look
yeah.
exhausted, but you kept a massive smile on your face the whole fucking day, and then when everything was closed, I could see it, and I was like, he needs his
such a
fucking
gamble,
space.
man. Such a big gamble in the beginning. Like I'm like, man, I've accumulated some funds from like I worked throughout COVID, and I accumulated enough money to make this happen. But you don't know if people are going to come through the door. Like you don't know if athletes, and that was the thing. Like I mean, I can see the ticket sales, so I'm like, okay, I think I've kind of broke even. What I put in, but I don't know if athletes are coming in. I'm like, okay, I think I've got like 40 registered. Is that going to be a good show? Is this all going to work out?
Kelly was
Don't know.
800 last year, man. That's insane. That is fucking insane,
So we
bro.
sold like 604 tickets.
Yeah.
We comped about 90. We then had all the businesses in the room. So I think we had like 8 or 9 businesses with tables. So they have their staff at the table.
Yep.
12.
12
12
last year. Yeah,
businesses.
sorry, apologies. I'm old. I forget stuff. And then athletes, man, it's just
100 odd athletes. Yeah.
100 other athletes, and then don't count guest posers, coaches, things like that. So like for them to just like rock up to Aberdeen, like right, man, the bus lane fines alone must have been.
At what point did you start like
mental on that day.
living for yourself though? Like because
Yeah.
obviously, you know,
Sorry, I
cancer
went off a
happened.
tangent there.
No, it's fine.
Um,
Obviously, cancer happened.
Yeah, so,
you were working for someone at some
I don't
point.
think. Yeah, I don't
but
think it
now-
was too far. The show wasn't too
Do you
far
want to hear a
away.
funny story about cancer?
Is this the one?
No one's in a fucking thing, man. I'm like, what do we fucking say?
Yes,
no,
right,
no,
so
it's quite
I'm
a
gonna
funny
go ahead
story,
and
to be
say
fair.
that Pete is a bit of a drama queen when it comes to having a bad day.
I
Right?
can see that. I can fucking see that. Really. I can see it.
Such a rough day today. It's fucking 2 p.m, mate. What's gone wrong? Right. So I'm basically, I've just been given the news that the tumor I have in my head is dangerous, and I need to get it taken out. So I've literally I've had an appointment at maybe 3 p.m. at that point, and I've gone to work, and I've gone to work, and I'm on shift for an hour, and I'm by myself, by the way, for an hour, and I'm sitting there going like, this is rough. This is rough. Like, how are you handling this, man? How are you handling this? And then my comic relief arrives. Peter Ganella.
Here he goes.
Hops out of his Vauxhall Insignia. Now, just to be clear, I need you paint this picture. He wears trousers that don't quite fit all the way down to his ankles.
Are we
And he
talking
wears-
too big or too tight?
Too tight.
I can tell.
He
I
wears
was a bigger boy back then. I was a larger
He's
gentleman.
a fuller figured man. He wears black shoes. You know the type that have no laces.
Loafers?
Those little like 10
The
bob
art- the art sole?
10 bob
I'm in business
sliders.
when I worked the door, man.
And he wears
Wait, sorry. Do you remember Andy Scott and Ibiza a few years back?
yeah,
He had these white
that's it.
loafers.
Yeah. White loafers, yeah.
It was so
Shout out
bad.
Andy Scott and those white loafers.
Oh, Andy, fucking shame on you.
Taking a risk, man.
Shame
Taking a
on you
risk.
don't wear them at the show this year.
At
Look at
some
him fucking
point, did
big
his
yard.
mates be like, you're
Ah,
sound
you know, they all take the piss out of him, man.
brilliant. That was great. What do you think, guys? Yeah, crack on. Right. Click. Right, so Pete jumps out of his Vauxhall Insignia at the time.
Oh, did I have the,
Type-
no, I think I had the Beamer at the time. Yeah.
Okay, so he jumps out of his convertible
No, I didn't have a
BMW.
Convertible
Vauxhall, it was
B-
actually a Bentley.
No, it was actually a convertible BMW, which makes me even more of a wank.
Yeah. So he hops out of that wearing black trousers, black shoes, and white socks. So, like, just the most ridiculous get up. He hops out, and I'm like, hey, Pete, how you doing, man? And he's like, oh, mate, I don't even know where to begin. I'm like, what's going on in your life, Pete?
Oh, no.
Are you all right, bud? He said, I've just had just the worst day. And I'm like, really, Peter?
Bastard of a day.
Yeah. I'm like, do you want to tell me about it? And then basically, I won't bore you with the ins and outs, but Pete had a stressful day as a car salesman where he struggled to sell cars at the end of the month. And then I let him go through everything. I'm like, wow, right, that's stressful, yeah. And I'm like, wait a minute, did you manage to sell all the cars? And he's like, well, eventually I got them all out. So, although it was stressful, you got all the cars out. It was just so. I'm like, all right, okay, yeah. At no point did Pete ask how my day was. No point. And I was just like, all right, okay. And then we continued on our usual patter for the night, and I didn't say anything to him because he'd had such a rough day. And
tough day,
then,
boys.
He is a fucking good person.
and then,
But that's when you know you're not mates, you're like brothers at that
Aye.
point. It's like I don't even need to say. It's like I'm just gonna fucking endure. I'm gonna let you say your thing.
And you know what you all did? You were keeping the fillet, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then,
Selfish bastard.
and then 2 years later, we were on a podcast, and I was like, "Oh, funny story, Pete." And I told him that story, and he's like, "I remember that day." I was like, "That's the day I got
a
told," and he
horrendous
was
day.
like,
Oh,
"What
man.
are you saying?" And I was like, "You're having a rough day, man."
Yeah,
Like,
I felt
don't
pretty
worry
bad
about
after we found it, but mate, it makes for a fucking hell of a story.
Yeah, it does.
brilliant.
He's got that on you forever now.
Yeah.
So there's my
Just bring it
my
up.
funny
So
story.
I've learned from my mistakes, and I now ask people how they're doing.
No matter what,
Before you go into that.
Right, how bad is this? You're right. Yeah, man, I'm fine. Yeah.
Because after I found that out, I was like, you know what? Actually, I don't ask people enough how they're doing. And I think I did it quite a lot with Catherine, where
Yeah, Catherine was on prep for Worlds, and he's like, "Hey, I've made this pizza tonight." She's like 2 weeks out.
Yeah, then asked how she was doing. Bearing in mind, she never told anyone. She never told anyone she was on prep.
Catherine comes
You're
home.
Captain Rock,
Catherine comes
Rock
home and
time
is like,
every
"What's
time."
wrong with your mate?" I'm
That-
like, "What do you mean?" So he talked to me for 14 minutes because she's like got her Garmin on. She's like, 14 minutes. He stopped me on the leg press to talk to me about pizza.
Oh,
and I'm 2 weeks out, and I'm like, so I say to Pete, I'm like, "Pete, what are you playing at?" And he's like, "Well, how am I meant to know?" I'm like, "Did you ask? Did you ask her how she was?" No.
So now, yeah,
I
now
want to
very
show her my
careful.
pizza.
Very careful.
He was buzzing about making
I'm a
homemade
changed
pizza.
man nowadays,
Yeah.
guys. I don't
He's much
sell
better
cars
now.
anymore,
He's
so
much-
my
he's a
days are a
well-adjusted
bit
human.
less stressful.
So that happened. I went and got operated on. Boom. I got a big axe wound in my head, a big chunk out my neck. Went in. Entertainingly, they inject you with blue dye and then they put you in a wee machine. I forgot they'd done that, so when I woke up from the operation, first thing I wanted to do was go for a pee. Went for a pee and it was like Powerade blue. And I was like, oh my God! Where's my phone? Can you video this?
Straight for the
That was
content.
amazing. Yeah, Powerade blue pee. Anyway, went through the whole process, went for checkups, and all gone, all good.
Amazing.
Well done.
But the point of your question, sorry, that story always gets me.
Brilliant.
I think I don't like sounding cheesy, but there's no way of getting away with it. It gave me a massive amount of perspective. So I'd sat with my thumb up my ass for a lot of time. And it accumulated this, in the security industry anyway, like this reputation of being somebody who you could rely on and who would deliver. So it gave me a chunk of perspective. So I probably started to apply myself in all things. Like, I'm not saying immediately, but once I'd kind of recovered and realised, like, I was kind of not wasting my life. I wasn't some mad drug addict, but I was just coasting. Just absolutely coasting in all things. So that goes for diet, training, relationships, work, business, hobbies, anything. I was just coasting away. I'm like, this is all right. This is all right. And it wasn't all right. And I was probably quite an unhappy person. Like, don't cry. I was quite an unhappy person during that period. I was lucky enough to meet an amazing woman who was like, without saying it, was like, pull your fucking finger out, mate. Yeah. So all that combined, plus just by luck. So for the first poster, right? That's how me and Catherine originally, we met a couple of times before that by accident, but like the original, like us having a conversation was because of the show. And I basically decided I was doing a poster for the show and I wanted to have Aberdeen-based athletes on the show, on the poster, sorry. So I spoke to Greg. I was like, bud, like, send me some high-res images. Let's get this up. Like, who else do I know? And I wanted an open bodybuilder, a bikini, and a junior. So I got Cami, high-res images, and I was like, Catherine's like, she's won the Scottish, she's Aberdonian, she's from Aberdeen, sorry. Reached out to Catherine, I was like, can you do this? I'm going to do this, do you mind? She's like, oh, that's great, yeah. And then I gave her a poster. And then once I'd sent her the poster, I think we'd started clothing. We delivered some clothing with our, honestly, they're not very good logo in the beginning. And I was like, hey, just see, thank you, here's a t-shirt. Ping me your address and a post it. And she's like, oh, we'll just pop round with it if you want. We're in Aberdeen. And I was like, all right, okay. And then I popped round just to be like, hey, there's a t-shirt, no weirdness or creepiness. And she was like, do you want a coffee? And I was weight training legs. And I'm always late. I'm always late for everything.
He's always fucking late.
I'm always late,
both, man.
right? And I was like, looking at my watch.
You
and
think
I was
he's
like,
perfect up until like, you ask him to be there at a certain time.
Timekeeping.
He said, pick me up for 7 this morning, 15:15, he's finished his steps.
that's not right. It was 7:02. 7:02.
It
So I
was
walked around the
7:08.
corner and I'm like,
15:15
7:02.
in my head.
All right, anyway, so she's like, do you want a coffee? And I was like, I say, if I can do a coffee, my weight training legs, yeah. Made a coffee, had a conversation, and then now she's my wife. But
That's amazing.
Just a coffee?
Just coffee.
Just a
yeah,
coffee.
coffee. And
That
then,
time anyway,
and,
just
and to be
coffee.
honest,
It's a
like,
nightmare. It doesn't let me drop off any posters anywhere.
I know what he's like. He's like, I'm there for coffee. He's like, all right. Yeah. So she
Just
made
a
a
disclaimer, by the way, I'm not a weird creeper. Just getting that out there, right?
Why did you need to say that? You made that
Because
really,
you made it weird.
You just
You've
made
made
it
it
weird.
You made it
You made it weird. Yeah, so I don't want to fucking bore down. Not like a sad story, but it was like just a rude awakening, a very rude awakening of perspective. I wanted to do this thing, and I was like, yeah, I should probably do that. And then I'm not saying this happening was the reason, but it was definitely a catalyst for me to take a look inwardly and be like, sort your shit. So in all things, I went from, I don't know, I just dropped it a gear and started moving faster at everything with more precision, like action, aggressive action on everything. And that led for me, like, I don't know, just being, oh, Rob, he's a good guy, to being like, yeah,
Mr. Get Shit Done.
Rob's
yeah.
And
so on a personal level, like, I get shit done.
I think that's a really good segue to like, what's the bigger picture, man? Because you're going to have something in mind, right? I mean, like we were saying, you guys like kind of yin and yang, you balance each other out. You know, at the end of the day, you're assessing, you're celebrating. What's after? What's the bigger thing, man? Because I'd love to see more shows. I'd love to see more GCBB shows. Obviously, Granite City's kind of like...
Do you think we could recreate what we have there somewhere else?
The thing is that because it's a home show,
Yeah.
right, that's the hard thing, because it's like that feel-good family atmosphere, right?
It's like your nan's recipe lasagna or something.
I did love what Stephen was able to do in Glasgow. That was probably the best atmosphere I think that I felt.
Yeah.
Like the kind of closeness, togetherness of everyone.
Yeah.
I've only ever felt that at those two shows. I've never, if anyone's ever been to a Two Bros or an NPC show, it's a lot more serious,
you
man.
don't feel that.
You know what I mean?
You don't
it's a lot
feel
more
that at all.
serious.
See, I've never competed with Two Bros, but I went to watch a Two Bros show. And as a spectator, like, other than watching Catherine compete and maybe a couple of people that I knew, I was quite bored.
It's bland.
I was quite bored, and I've heard 1,000 people say I've been to a bodybuilding show and it's quite boring. And then, like, what I did as well is see when, like, if I was sat there and Catherine's getting her hair and makeup done, and I'm watching a show, and like Steve from Wolverhampton walks out in the novice class, and they're like, "Oh, this is Stephen from Kettlebell Gym in Northampton," and nobody cheers for him.
It's
I'm like, "God, Steve, God!" And you watch him go like.
That's
Honestly,
that's right, mate.
I'm Steve. Show them what you got, buddy. Show them. And I watch the judges, the crowd, all like, "Who the fuck this big?" This because I know what I look like. I look fucking terrifying and horrible. So I was like, "The fuck is this guy?" I'm like, "Go on, Steve, let's do it." He's like, "Yes, I'm gonna do it." And you watch him come to life, man. And I'm like,
absolutely.
I'm looking at the guy in the microphone, and being like.
That's exactly what me and Lindsay do at shows as well. She's not just
time to
cheering
shine.
somebody on. She's like, you can't just start shouting all day the full time.
Brilliant.
And it really helps,
Brilliant.
do you know what I mean? Because the last thing you want to go up there is just, like you said earlier, silence.
Yeah.
That
I
would
watch
be
people
absolutely
shrink
horrific.
into themselves.
100% impacts the way you look, your enjoyment of it, putting all that work to
You guys have competed at two. You've competed at Two Bros Out. How did you find the experience? Because I don't know. Like,
So I
please
would
don't
say
cancel
that,
the guys.
Yeah,
like if,
no. So
they speak
I
out
think
of turn.
that I think that it's what you'd expect. It's more clinical, I'd say.
Yeah.
It's like this is what you do.
That's not a
It's
terrible
lot of
thing.
that. No, it's not, because
it's
I think
efficient.
that it's. I don't mean to sound kind of rude or anything here, but I think that athletes go with an expectation of what it's going to be like.
Aye.
Like,
Yeah.
this is a serious one.
Yeah.
I'm switching the fuck
Aye.
on for this
Yeah,
one.
yeah, yeah.
So like, and I'm not gonna lie, I don't mind that part. Like, I enjoy. Ultimately, it's a sport. Right,
Yeah.
and in any other sport, you've got different kinds of athletes. You've got the ones that are dead chill, and then you've got the more kind of, you know, in the shadows, you know. And I think having the
Cammy Duncan.
opportunity, Cammy Duncan, Greg Taylor, you know,
Yeah.
Captain Sith Lords,
Yeah.
you know, like they're happy to just live in the darkness,
Yeah.
you know, and eat dry rice,
Yeah.
which is fair, man. Like,
I think
fair
we should
dues
get
to you.
Taylor to announce you next time.
Yeah,
Oh, I'm
yeah.
down. Jimmy, if you're ever looking for anyone to commentate, I'm here, bud. I'm here.
Go on,
If we ever do a live stream, you're the guy.
Come on.
You're absolutely the guy.
But
would be a
I
bad
think
idea,
I
actually.
do think though that having the awareness, the athletes have that awareness is. I quite like it, because it's like, right, we know that this one's maybe going to be a bit more, not less serious. That's not what I'm trying to say. You kind of know what you're getting yourself into. Is what I'm trying to say. Whereas. You know what you get yourself into at Granite as well. The standard's good, but the fucking vibe is insane, man. And it's so exciting. And do you know what I love about Granite, mate? Is that you can bring your family along.
Yeah.
And it's good crack.
It's good crack. Yeah.
Uh-huh.
It's a day out. Do you know what I mean? It's like
We're more of a show as opposed to a competition.
Yeah.
Obviously, the competition side is a massive part of it. Obviously,
Yeah.
it's still a bodybuilding show at the end of the day.
Do you know what helped?
But we
Like-
try to make it as entertaining as possible.
What
at the
helped
same
for
time.
me was it sounds daft. Podcast helped like massively, and I mean like consuming them. So Fuad's podcast, for instance, Real Body Count, Bro Chat, whatever variation you watch, like Fuad's podcast. So he would be talking about like the guys would explain stuff. So he'd be talking about micrograms of this, milligrams of that, blah, and Fuad would be like, just so everyone's aware, this is what they're talking about. And then the guys would be like, yeah, bro, they know. And then he's like, no, like not everyone that watches this is a bodybuilder.
absolutely.
And then someone pinged in my head. I was like, not fucking out of the 600 tickets we sold, 100 of them are competitive bodybuilders. The rest of them is your nan, your mate that you work with. Like, that's who's there, and they have no clue what's going on. No Scooby. So I try and make it we try and make it as interesting and exciting for them as we can, and have like stuff for them to do, stuff for them to go, like make it a show. Because bodybuilding shows can be quite boring. So if your nan sat there for 6 hours waiting for you to come out, she'll fall asleep.
Yeah.
Like, she's not going to want to be there. So try and make it as
Exciting as possible.
yeah, man, yeah. Because
And it really, you
It's a
really
long
do.
day, man.
It
It's
is
a long day to be sat in your seat.
100%.
Last
Very
year
long
was
days.
also incredibly long. We were also running a bit behind, which is something we're massively taking on board
Mitigating
for this year.
And how are you guys going about trying to navigate that? Is it just
last-
super strict with timekeeping?
I
I
think
mean,
if we-
everything has to be precise as
It
well,
has
man.
to be bang on it. And we
militant,
can't,
man.
We can't leave things behind
So
or
to
leave things to last minute.
address,
Hence why.
yeah, everything's like, it's just literally the tiny little details we have to do. So things like the athletes' food shop, like we still do that. And I think last year we did it the day before. This year we're doing it tomorrow. So everything's done ahead of time. So rice cakes, jam, peanut butter, things other shows don't do
No, they
for
don't.
athletes. Like
It's
we
amazing
put
he's
a, we
actually
put a
doing
full
that as
spread on for the athletes, and as much as a nice thing, it's stress. So it's less stress for the competitor and the athlete.
Absolutely, less for them to
Oh,
prepare for the day.
can I
Man.
actually put a contribution that would be actually really handy?
Yeah.
A couple of set of cheap drug scales or a couple of set of just cheap scales or batteries.
All right, yes, a great shout.
Because
I just heard drugs there, and I was like, I'm not sure if
but
we can
that was
get
a bit
that.
of time.
Aye.
I know the amount of
Really?
times. No, because like for salt, man.
Just
like
to
for
wear
salt,
out
We've
Salt,
got
yeah.
we have them as well.
Absolutely, yeah.
So
Yeah.
the whole rice cake stand, it's got,
Yeah.
well, obviously rice cakes, jam, peanut butter, almond butter, isotonic drinks, monsters,
Liquids.
and we put obviously scales up there
Yeah.
as well, so everything can
Oh,
be made
nice.
out.
Oh, that's amazing.
Yeah.
Sorry,
So
Joe.
like that came from me going to different shows with Catherine, to be honest, and then being like watching people freak out.
Yeah.
Oh my god!
Yeah.
Callum's told me I need to have 20 grams of almond butter, and I've got peanut butter. Like, oh no! And I watch them freak out, and I'm like, hey man, there's some almond butter, dude. Like, relax. Everyone's gonna be okay.
Aye.
Like, so everything you need, everything you could need on show day, is at the venue. The tanners are at the venue. Hair
amazing.
and makeup's at the venue. The food you might need, the weights, the pump up bands. Just to fucking circle back on the original point, like, so the us running over cost us a couple of £1,000 last year by running over, but it was a decision we made in the morning, and it was send the masters classes out there without weights and bands to pump up.
That's what I heard. That was the reason why it ran behind us.
Yeah, and I threw
Shut
I
up,
threw
Bucks.
poor Alfie from Warehouse under the bus on stage for banter,
Aye.
but the buck stops with me because I'm like, did we say we'll go get them? Did we tell him to bring them? Like, it stops with us. So at the time, I think I'd said, like, let's just roll, and Pete was like, that's not who we are, and I'm like, it's not. And I'm like, right, cool. Let's put it back, wait for the weights to arrive, allow them to pump up. And in that call, we pissed off everyone watching, all the sponsors, all the vendors, all the other athletes, to make sure the masters classes got to pump up properly.
I fucking respect that, man. I know. I know.
No,
Everyone's so selfish on this occasion because it's about me. I'm here to watch this person.
Aye.
But like,
Yeah.
think about that motherfucker.
Aye,
Think about
exactly.
how he feels, man.
Yeah.
Because
But
he
then
died
Getting
there
on
for so
stage,
long,
not
man.
being able
Like,
to pump up and stuff like that, 100%.
Yeah, it would stress me out, man. I'm not gonna lie.
Most certainly, 100%, man. The last thing you want them is fucking having nothing but press ups they can do pre-stage.
Yeah.
And then that's another thing you're going out your way to doing as well, is supplying all the food and stuff like that. Any other federation that I go to, they don't have pump up stuff backstage, so you're
No,
supplying that
that's
as well.
what
So
I've
it's
told
like,
you.
I've seen
We also,
do
if
it.
anybody asks the question, we also recommend take stuff
Bring
along
shit,
anyway,
yeah.
because then you're probably
It's your
just like,
responsibility.
Yeah,
because you're
yeah.
fighting for dumbbells with
'Cause
people, there's only so
You
much.
can get your
Yeah.
arse wiped, boys. Like, fucking
Yeah.
be
Yeah.
prepared.
Yeah.
You've got 99% of people are probably going to compete the PCA the following week.
Yeah,
So
they're gonna have shit.
The original idea of setting up pre-PCA was to be like the warm-up show for it.
Yeah.
So if you've got like a bag with goodies in it, like all your food, all your pump-up bands, what clothing you're going to wear, your bikinis, shoes, everything like that,
Keep
you've
that.
already got a bag pre-packed anyway. So just get used to packing that bag.
Yeah.
Take it to us. 90% of it you probably won't need anyway because we've got it all sorted. But you might need that the
PCA.
following week at PCA, NABA, whatever.
Better
other
have
shows
it and
are
not
coming
need
up.
it and need it not have it. So, for instance, if I had taken, well, I don't know, my coaches told me I needed 6 Rice Krispie Square bars on the day, and there were 6 free because we put Rice Krispie Square bars there as well. Anything that I think people might need on the day, it's there. So I'm like, man, I'm gonna take this free stuff, and I've got 6 for next week. So the stress gets smaller and smaller and smaller. The tour videos, everything we do, your music, we'll edit your music for you. Tell us what you want, we'll sort it. Like, everything is catered towards the athlete having a better experience, because then they perform on stage better. Crowd has a better time. I have a better time. Like, I love seeing people come out of their shell and enjoy themselves. I know what a positive impact this sport can have on people. Like, it has its dark side. Like, there's no getting away from that. But there's such a positive impact we had. Like, look at Pete's life now. Like, Pete, no disrespect, was a fat piece of shit like 2 years ago. And now he's a jacked dude with nearly all of his
Insane.
hair.
Insane.
Like,
Fuck you. That's the backhand compliment. You're an asshole.
Did you get a,
Bro,
did you get a transplant?
Huh?
Have you had a transplant?
Not yet.
No.
He's not a
so what you thought, but we
Do you know anyone decent?
No, but I was going to say,
just get going.
I was going to say, when he gets, I know. When he gets his teeth done, when he gets his teeth done, I get hairlights on.
I'm gonna get everything done, man.
Bro, I'm fucking going bad, man.
It's like that. You ever seen the
yeah.
Burniston skit where the guy comes back from holiday, shows the border force's passport, and she's like,
That's not.
"It's nothing like you. Where you just come from? It Turkey." Everything done. That'll be me, man. Like, everything is.
So yeah, the positive impact that bodybuilding can have on your life.
Absolutely.
Like, Pete's evidence of
Yeah,
that.
I mean, nowadays I feel epic, and that's solely down to applying myself in training, and then even that having a knock-on effect. Applying myself through training then means I'm applying myself in my actual day-to-day life. So yeah.
And at what point did you get your shit together? Because I mean, you were obviously DJing. Like I can remember you from when you were DJing. And then I think when I first met you, you were out of shape.
Yeah.
And then I mean, the past year, I mean, now this is the best I've ever seen you in my life,
Yeah,
mate. You
it's
look
the
insane, bro.
best I've
Take your
felt.
top off.
Yeah. Can we get can we get an MP's posing seminar, please?
Punching each other out there. I think the big turning point was, and I kind of got kind of emotional with myself at the same time. So I'd been going years and years, just like, because I obviously signed up with Kami, we made a bit of an improvement. I think we lost 30 pounds or something like that. So we did well, but not to the standards of what I was seeing Kami's other clients at. So I kind of took a step back from myself and had a look at everything. And I was like, Kami's putting up a lot of photos with other clients. I'm his longest serving client. Kami's training with a lot of his clients. I'm Kami's longest serving client. So it was more a thing. It's like I'm
almost behind here.
It's not that I'm embarrassing myself here. I'm making Kami look silly.
Yeah. And
I know the caliber that what Kami works at. The reason I signed up with Kami is because his work ethic is like nobody else's I've known. Like in Kami's younger days, we'd go to uni, but you get up at like 2 a.m, you'd go do a posing session with Greg, then you go back home and you eat, then you go back to the gym in the morning, then you go to uni, and then you go home and like prep everything. Like his work ethic was solid, and that's why I signed up with Kami. And he tried to drill that into me for ages and ages, but I had a chronic takeaway addiction, like really bad. I would have 5-6 takeaways a week,
That's crazy.
and it was
Shout out
horrendous.
to O Kitchen.
Oh, they're closed now.
Discount code, yeah, because of you.
Yeah, they
Put them out of
stopped
business.
stop going.
Stop going.
Where
They
the
have
fuck is
to
Old
close.
Kitchen? What's Old Kitchen?
It's one of the greatest Chinese
Oh, they're
venues
Chinese.
that ever gone, man. A big Chinese fan.
I remember once I fancied a Chinese, and I don't ever order Chinese food, and I was like, Pete, what's your order? And I was like, oh, I'll just order that. And he's all right. And dude, none of it was Chinese food. It was like onion rings,
Chips,
everything
chicken
was
balls.
get the curry sauce, and then get an extra
No,
pot of curry
that's-
sauce.
That's British people.
It was
We've got
sad.
Chinese that's just
And there was a
fucking
box
chicken balls and
involved.
shit.
There was a box.
It's a
and then
noodle
wait-
box. It's a satay chicken noodle box.
Explain your protocol.
No veg, but then I get an extra portion of sauce, so then open up the box, put extra sauce
Fucking
on it,
hell.
and it would slap. And I got like 4 sides in it as well. That was brilliant.
I think I ate about a third of that. I'm like, you're a disgusting piece of
Yeah,
shit.
horrendous. Don't even ask him about my scrambled eggs.
No.
But
Bad?
Worst
Brilliant.
Italian cook
Brilliant.
I've ever met in my life.
I love them. I make them like Gordon
basically
Ramsay
raw.
does. Yeah, watch how Gordon Ramsay makes them. That's how I make them.
when they're like that. I like a bit of fucking like substance
I know,
to
'cause
them,
you've got
man.
the slime
See, when
dripping
it's just
off
like
them.
your fucking
It's like slime.
gloopy, spunky eggs, man.
I've
It's fucking
watched
gross.
14 seasons of Hell's Kitchen, boys. I know what I'm talking about.
He made me runny,
Heroes,
But yeah,
runny egg water, and then you couldn't even put it on toast because it sunk through the toast.
I know
I'm
what
like,
you're
this
talking
isn't.
about. This is
Soggy bread, man.
It's beautiful. But yeah, go back to it. So it came in like November, and I'm like, I need to do something here. Like I've been going so long, and I'm like, I need to do something here. And I was kind of switch went off, went through a bit of shit, switch went off in my head. I was like, I need to start sorting myself out here. So yeah, just started hitting it a bit harder.
Did
really
something
speaking.
happen that was like, right, I need to fucking stop. I need to. There
was
must have been
just-
a point of realisation. There must have been. Because when I think back to kind of pivotal points in my life, I can always think back to that.
There's always
that
something.
kind of pin drop moment, that kind of, right, this is.
It's exactly what happened with
Some-
you just
sorry,
said.
I'm just like.
Yeah.
What
Yeah,
happened
just
with you and
a bit where a relationship thing was going on at the point, and it was like my first relationship thing since my ex. So I think that kind of ended, and I was like, well, this sucks.
Yep.
It was almost like the breakup period again.
Yeah.
So I kind of went into that, but I was really applying myself this time. And then I got to December, and I was like £20 down.
Great.
And I'm like,
Good.
it's going well.
You look hot for Tinder, boys.
So that's it. You've used that as that fire, haven't you? And
Pretty
you're really
much. And then
taking
it got to a point, and I think this is what kind of shocks quite a lot of people, but it got to a point where like my body just wasn't shifting. And then Kami's like, I don't want to do this. I really don't like doing this, but I'm going to try something extreme here and see if it works. So we pulled all carbs out. And then weight just started moving. But I think it's because I've been such a fat fuck for 20 odd years.
Yep.
I've never been in shape. When I was 19, I was probably a bit better, but I've never been in shape. So I had to take that extreme point.
Trust me, I've had through it, and
Yeah.
sometimes like this is what's so fucked up about the industry, man. Is that a lot of coaches will sit back in a pedestal and say, "I would never do that."
Mate, it's
but the
the
fact of
worst
the matter
thing.
is, you got to do what you got to fucking
Yeah.
do.
You've
Man.
got
Like
to do
I
what
can
you've
think
got to
back
do.
to one of my current clients, Kyle. His food right now he's 95, 96 kilos.
Yeah.
So dude's on like 2,000 calories on a rest day.
Yeah, that's
but like I've had him to run blood work.
Yeah.
I examined it. I was like, no, make sure everything's fine.
What
It
works
is,
will work.
Some
Yeah.
people you just Gotta grizz it out. and get
Some
it done,
people
man.
take.
Like,
I
100%,
can
man.
just do a few steps
It really
extra,
is.
and everything
Aye.
comes off me. Some people need 2 hours on the stairmaster.
We did,
love
I mean,
that.
we did all that with Kami as well. We looked at my bloods, everything was fine. We looked at my
Some people's gotta
thyroids and
push,
like that, everything was
Exactly,
fine.
man.
I was like, well, it has to be something. I was like, well, let's just try this. So weight started coming down. So I'm at 196 this morning.
Amazing, bro.
Down
That's
from-
amazing.
Down from 265 when I started.
That's
So
good.
it's an
That's
insane amount of weight to
That's
shift.
absolutely
70
mega. So
pounds,
it's-
isn't it?
Give or take, yeah.
Sometimes you've got to go a wee bit of protein and veg.
That's all it
Bury
needs.
yourself.
And to be honest, like a lot of people might say, obviously, when you get to like a prep stage and you're 0 carbs and you're absolutely dick and bone and there's nothing left to you, yeah, maybe it gets a little bit more difficult. But I don't feel myself any less energetic than what was before. Obviously, we add carbs in like as like almost like a refeed week. And I'll be strong as fuck, but I don't feel any more energetic necessarily. Like I have a reasonably stressful job through the day, and it tires me out mentally. But like I still go in and absolutely batter through my training, get everything done. Like. The 15 minutes cardio in the morning is a bit grim. I
I think it's a mindset thing as well, man. See, if you got me the mindset of, oh, I've got to do this carb, I've no carbs to eat within my day and stuff like that, you'll just make it 10 times harder for yourself. But then when you see that progression start to flow,
You
like
have to
you're
kinda-
seeing yourself shift that extra bit of weight, you're like, fucking give me the 0 carb, give me the 50-minute cardio, do you know what I mean? I'll happily do it to get to where
And
I
it
want to
feeds
get
itself.
to.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You know, like I kind of reflect back on like my behaviours when I was kind of growing up. I was pretty lazy. I didn't really have much ambition. And I kind of compare to where I'm at just now. It's a polar opposite, man. But like my actions nowadays feed further behaviours.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like
Oh,
the prospect of
definitely,
you guys coming on 2 weeks ago was fucking giving me a big old hard on.
Yeah.
And I'm looking into next
And
week
now
when
it's
we're
happening.
coming up for Granite and then
it's
interactions again and potential follow ups to this. It makes you just want to fucking do more.
Yeah.
And that all just comes
is-
from, you know, having that moment of realisation, looking at yourself and just committing and backing.
Absolutely, man. As soon as you start to commit, it almost drives like another level of productivity because you start to achieve when you start to commit. You know, hold on, I'm capable of this. Then it starts opening up other pathways, and you want to just keep going and going. Do you know, it just drives another level.
And
of
even within business and the
productivity.
scale of Granite compared to the 1st to the 5th.
Yeah.
You know, like...
You're
Well,
just setting
it's
the tone.
action. It's like fucking vicious action. So that like everyone has these hopes and dreams, plans, if you like. And the plans are a fantastic thing to have. But if you don't, like you say, commit. Like, if you don't commit to that plan, then nothing's ever going to happen. Sometimes, like, commit to that plan, and it won't turn out how you want it, but it'll put you in a different
Feedback, man.
a different
Absolutely.
place. Absolutely, yeah.
Aye, 100%.
So, like, whole ass, not half ass. Like, just
And what do
Go
you
to
guys
town,
find
don't
has been the biggest challenge of trying to string together GCBB so far?
Backlash.
raining
Yeah,
in
aye.
peat.
I do get a bit excited at times and I do suggest things, but Rob's very good at keeping me
Large part
in
of my
line.
job is wrangling Pete.
But
Rob, can we have a bouncy castle at the side this year?
Sure.
you think I haven't suggested that? Imagine, Rob, a GCB bouncy castle. It's just one massive bicep that people
Get me
bounce
on that one.
You know what I mean? But like, I was never like before all this. I was never a bodybuilding fan. I'd never been a body. The first bodybuilding show I'd ever been to was Kami's first show, i.e., the last one he was at.
Yep.
That was my first experience of a bodybuilding show. The second ever bodybuilding show I'd been to, I was running the backstage of it. So I was never going in with the bodybuilding fanboy like Rob is. And I think that's what. Sometimes for me it's difficult to see sometimes like where his thought process is, but then he explains it. I'm like, well, that makes a hell
So
of a
it's
lot of
almost
sense.
like Pete's got a crash course in bodybuilding education for me. So like last year with the pose down, like when I was like, pick your shot, and Andy Scott's like, your double bicep, and everyone else is like, oh no, and then I watch everyone, and then Jack Gunn was like abs and thighs, and I watch everyone be like, fuck, like that was from that Olympia that Triple H.
Wait,
Who
who was that again? Was it Ronnie?
It was Ronnie J. I can remember Ronnie J.
Marcus
I can remember
Rose, like
Marcus
most muscular.
Boys muscular.
Like, yeah,
Have you seen the Night of Champions, Marcus Rule?
Yes.
It's insane. Every shot is
Crazy,
a side.
mate.
Every shot's like a most muscular side
His
chest.
side chest is the most muscular.
Yeah.
Side tricep is the most muscular. Yeah.
I watched that and it's and Rammstein's playing it.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
sat
it.
there.
Yeah. So that like encyclopedia of bodybuilding is like burning away in my brain. So sometimes I'm probably harsh with Pete when he suggests stupid things, and I'm like, no, this wouldn't work because of this, this, and this in bodybuilding. And he's like, oh yeah, that kind of makes sense. So Pete's probably had a bit of a crash course in bodybuilding. But that's I think, if you don't mind, I think our biggest problem is scaling up every year.
Yeah.
So like last year was a massive leap forward. Like, I think if we go numbers, we were maybe like 40 to 50 the first year, 60 the next year, 70 the third year. Then I think we had like 75, and then boom, 100 and fucking something. Like
Crazy.
we had 120 or something registered. So we had like 15 people just not show up on the day. Like, so that level of like more staff, more security, more time, more trophies. The trophies are like $2,500. Like everything going up and up and up. The scale it's growing at is probably our biggest challenge, but it's a challenge that like we start everything earlier now. So like our PR, our marketing, everything is like a week downtime. Boom, rolling again. Like, let's get started.
This year's ever so slightly different because of the whole federation debacle.
Yeah, I think we should definitely get into that. So back to the, palaver with GCBB and IBFA. There was a little bit of a kind of nonsense going there, but it's all been remedied now. GCBB is here to stay.
Yeah,
I'd like to think so.
We're not fucking leaving.
Well, not leaving.
So if
you're never
I feel comfortable to explain and go through the listeners, because I think it's really important that we speak about it. And I think that it shows you there's a right way of going about things and a wrong way of going about things. And I think that, in this industry, I think that a lot of people are willing to maybe say some things or act a certain way to try and bring a few people down for their own benefit, which I just think is so wrong. So wrong.
Like, man, have a bit of class, eh? So I didn't want to speak about anything. I don't want to speak about anything. So I had the conversations with, I don't throw anyone under the bus, but when I had like conversations with the federation, we'll say, because they changed their structure and somebody else was running it. I had conversations with this person. The conversations never went well from the get-go. And like, just to be perfectly clear here, like the Granite was the biggest show IBFA had by some margin. So I, like me personally, as a businessman, I would maybe listen to that person. He just wasn't listening. Anyway, they cracked on the way they wanted to go. And then the more and more I saw how this person operated, acted with other people as well as myself, I was like, I don't connect with this person. I don't like this person. I don't like this vibe. I don't like where this is all going. And then there was like, I said, like, I didn't want to speak. So I didn't want to come out and do videos. I didn't do anything like that. And then I think we had basically decided to part ways after a bunch of stuff that I covered, like them trying to tax athletes like 45 quid a head 6 weeks out from a show, them trying to put a Gear Lab as our main sponsor. Like
fucking dumb, man.
Man, it's business suicide.
That's
like, half my judges are WNBF pros. Like, I mean, they can't be associated with something like that. And just, I mean, like, we all know what goes on, but I'm probably not making them the main sponsor. And then, like, we're professional, so everything is locked down well in advance. Like, all our classes are sponsored. All our everything's paid for. Everything's advertised. Everything's done. And this chap was like, change this. I'm like, who are you? Like, the federation had never given us or supported us in any way, shape, or form. And then he was wanting to pull all this, let's be honest, finances out. And I'm like, that's not fair on the competitors. Like, so that was a massive red flag for me. So what I said is, look, hold your horses, buddy. What we'll do is, and this is again me trying not rock the boat. I wasn't going to get rid of them this year. And it was, let's have a conversation after this show's done. We'll come up with a number that works for everyone. And then next year, and he was like, no, they pay now or they're banned from competing with the IBFA. And I'm like, well, just to be clear, nobody that's ever competed at my show other than Chris Duncan has went to your British. Because it's so far away from any shows in Scotland.
And obviously, bearing in mind the amount of athletes that we've got, that's a very small margin of people.
Chris Duncan is Mr. Michael Jackson.
That's him.
Come on.
Yeah. So I mean, like, Chris Duncan's the guy that asks if you could, do you mind if I put a costume on and I moonwalk out and I do? I'm like, I mean, I think I'd love to see it, but I'm not sure if that's a thing, Chris. So yeah, shout out to Chris Duncan, great bodybuilder. Needs to come in more peeled. You know that, Chris. But he's the only person that's ever competed with him. At that level. So I was like, look, you don't bring anything at the table, but you want to take everything away.
It's a dead thing, I'm sorry, boys, but like, IBFA are a dead thing. Like, I wouldn't be surprised if the collective sum of all of their entries across the season, at least in Scotland, came from
the Granite alone, 100%.
Like, again, I won't go into the ins and outs of it. There was like repeated things where I was like, let's just use their posters. Like, their social media presence was a joke. And I was like, look, we'll sort it out. Like, send us what you need. We'll make posters for you. Send us high-res images, not stuff taken on people's phones. What info we need, we'll do posters, like, for you. Like, let's bring the federation up. Let's fucking inject it with some synthol, like whatever it needs. Let's get it there, right? We'll do it. Whatever it needs to get it there, we'll get it there. And he was like, no. I'm like, okay, cool. And then he wanted to take
posters are
everyone away.
horrendous.
Oh,
horrific.
so bad.
Horrendous.
They're so bad.
Yeah, so then there's the slam dunk. So we basically did a podcast saying we're parting ways with him. He sent me a message being like, "You're done," and I'm like, "I know." So yeah, very awkward breakup. So he posted being like, "Just so you know, we broke up with him first." I'm like, "Alright, cool." And we rolled with the Independence Day.
So on that, so we posted the Independence Day
was so
thing,
cool.
and like it must have been an hour and a half. That's nice.
Yeah.
About an hour and a half later up, they did like a Google image search of
Arnie from Terminator 2.
yeah, but it said it had some cheesy meme comment on it, and I was like, oh, by the way, it was us that decided to part ways, and I was like, well, we've been planning this for about 6 months, man, so
It seems
But
like
yeah,
the
400 likes, 200 shares in our post, 3 likes all from his family.
Yeah.
On his like. Hey, just stay in your lane, dude. Stay in your lane. Do your thing.
It's like I've seen you build something special and they've just tried to take from it.
Yeah, I think like,
seen
and
that
I mean, I appreciate that. Like, he's looking at this. I imagine, like, call it what it is. I think to probably benefit himself, but also as a business, I would be like, right, we have this massive cash cow.
How can we grow it?
We need to extract
Work with it.
a little bit from that to bolster this failing federation, which I understand, but you need to do it correctly.
Yep.
So I'd be like, hey man, like, this is floundering. I've been asked to take it on. And you guys, like, what would you do to help? Is there a way? Like, there's just a way to do that. And he was like full egomaniac. He's also changed this, like, all the social media pages are his face rather than the federation. Which, imagine Granite was just my big ugly head.
to be fair,
I would unfollow that.
That
page.
tells you everything you need to know, because
Yeah.
a tiny little art like that means it's like it's not about the federation anymore, is it?
Absolutely.
It's like you're almost like a glory hunter. Right?
Yeah.
The thing about there's like a picture or a meme or something like that. Where's this guy? He's got like a trophy and a medal. He's celebrating like fuck, and then it pans out, and there's like 30 other steps, and there's like first, second, third. And he's like 10th.
Yep.
He's sitting there celebrating, thinking he's done great. It's kind of how I see it with them. It's just like Rob was saying, we're offering all of our services, like no cost to it, because like he's saying, we want to bring everything up
There's
together.
no upside to being associated with you guys.
Absolutely.
But at the same time,
Well,
though,
certainly don't think so.
you guys don't have any limitations. It's
No, we can have
Well,
QB
yeah.
pros now, guest posing.
Yep.
So the next part, and this is the part that I'm going to go, like, it takes a lot for me to get upset, angry. Like, I'm an emotional guy. I lead with how I feel a lot of the time.
Passionate about it, but that.
Yeah.
It's your baby, man.
Yeah. So when somebody tries to mess with it in any way, shape, or form, I get quite
I totally understand.
upset. So immediately, like, so Paul, manager of the ballroom, phones me. He's like, "Hey man, you coming for a meeting?" And we usually have a meeting anyway to go through. I'm like, "Yeah, cool, yeah, schedule it." Went in for the meeting. He was ill, so the deputy manager was like, "Hey, I need to talk to you." I'm like, "Yeah, cool." He's like, "Oh, somebody else has tried to book your show date for next year. And he's told us that you're nothing to do with bodybuilding or the federation anymore, and he'll be taking over the show ongoing. And he's basically offered to pay the entire amount for the day to book the event, blah, blah, blah." I was shaking. I had Luke with me, the videographer, Luke. And he was like, "Whoa."
Yeah.
And I'm like, so I explained the backstory, and he's like, the deputy, like, we've got a really good relationship with the ballroom, like, for, years now. I train all their staff as well, incidentally, their security staff. So they were like, no, this is your thing. We just wanted to tell you and make sure that was the crack, because we feel like you're not giving up on this or walking away from it.
Fucking
I
shout
was
out to
like,
them, man.
That's amazing. From
I was like, no, absolutely not. So the next time I met Paul, he walked us through it, and he was like, yeah, this is your date. So that's why we quickly, shout out to Frank Jansen and Rob, we're like, how quickly can you do a teaser poster for 2026? And he's like, "What do you want on it?" Give me 20 minutes, douche. And it was out. And I think it was really cool to see. The initial, like, we were vague about it as well, while we kind of figured out what we wanted to do. And I think I said, like, I would really appreciate your support with this, and it went mental. Everyone shared it. And then I spoke to Luke, and I was like, I think I'm just going to do a video because I'm tired of sitting on this. And Luke was like, say where, say when. Then like the next day, warehouse, just like set up a camera, let's go. And I'll just say exactly what happened.
Amazing.
And let the bodybuilding familia, the world.
And it popped off that post, the
blew
video, everybody was like,
up.
fuck IBF. Everybody was saying it, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it just goes to show, I think we say that when we speak for, every single person in the Scottish bodybuilding scene, that you've done the right thing there, do you know what I mean?
It's not, it's
Huge
absolutely
thanks as well
not
for doing that, man. Put your neck out there, man.
It's
Like,
absolutely not in our morals to air any dirty laundry. Like there's so much goes on behind the scenes that like do annoy us and irritate us, but like we're not going to go to social media because that's way less professional. Like certain other shows maybe do that. That's up to them to do it, but then you're making it personal.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? This Rob said this is day one. It's not. It's not
I,
about
I
us.
think the
It's
issue
about
is with
everyone
the
else.
IBFA for me this time. They made it.
Dude, they would
personal.
have fucked it, man.
Yeah.
Like,
they ruined it.
just
run
destroy it.
that through your head, like,
been
I couldn't
practically,
think of anything worse,
logistically, like,
Aye.
let's say. So first of all, I book the week after. Now, like you book the first weekend in April, I book the second. IBFA rolls with it. No businesses show up. Sorry, bud, but Chris Bain competes. Chris Bain competes, wins the overall, and 16 people go. Like, and that venue, you've seen the venue. That venue's not a cheap venue to do. So absolutely, like torpedo of a show, like just terrible. And then a week later, I roll. Like what would have done, but made the video and called them out, and it got the. It's not even like I wanted a reaction. I just wanted
People to know.
everyone to know like what these people were trying to do. And you can say we can say like, hey, we're all about bodybuilders, you know, and
So
that's
like,
our.
that thing,
But
that's
then
the
you
beauty of
actually
it.
see the evidence.
Yeah, exactly.
Show it.
So
You
you
need
don't
to show
need to
it.
say,
Yeah.
like, you're actually
Just show
speak
it.
volumes.
Whereas
man.
they're like, give it everything you've got. Like, yeah.
And this thing is like, I feel like I know you, man. You're not the kind of
Yeah.
person that would go and just do that for the sake of it. It's like you poke the bear so many fucking
did-
times,
it
you're going to
does
get a
take a while,
reaction,
man. It
and it was
takes
still
a
very
while.
professional. It was
Yeah.
a good. The right
I tried to not get too emotional with it.
Oh, you could have easily. You could have
Yeah,
easily.
and, and to be honest,
Popped
shout
off.
out to Luke. Like Luke's very good at editing, so there's points where I was like, "Give me a minute, man."
Aye.
Had to
Give me
go
a
and
minute.
pace
Because that's
for
a
a bit.
lot,
Yeah.
man. That's a lot.
So yeah, it's like, and I saying on the show, like I said it before last year's show because it felt normal and real to say that I now feel responsible for, like, I know what it meant to get on stage for the first time. I know what it was like to see my first show. I know the positive impact it had on me. I now feel like responsible for a large portion of the Scottish bodybuilding scene. I now feel responsible for it.
Yeah.
So when
That's threatened.
yeah, man, when somebody threatens that, I get quite
Fuck
defensive
yeah,
and quite
man.
upset.
That's fucking beautiful.
So I get massively triggered. And I forget I think I've said like 4 or 5 pretty cheesy quotes today, man. But all it takes for evil to prevail is for good men to just
Aye.
not stand up. And there's no way I was letting that roll. Like, no way. And I feel like a lesser person may have went like, oh, yes, you do what you want. Yes, sir.
Aye.
Absolutely not. Job
Good for
on,
you,
bud.
man.
You-
And
like-
it's not like you didn't give them the option as well. You were willing to work with them. You just
That's
were
the
like,
thing,
"Come on,
man.
I'll
That's
help
the
you."
thing, yeah. So
They've
I
shot-
don't want
they've
to rock
shot
the
themselves in
boat.
the foot, haven't they?
Yeah, so they started it.
Happy days.
Yeah.
Oh well.
But
GCBB
now-
prevails.
But to be honest,
Come
man,
on.
to be honest, like they brought nothing. They brought nothing. So nothing
Has
changes.
lost.
That's,
yeah.
nothing really changes other than the fact
If
that you can
anything,
have.
things could only get better because there's
Absolutely.
no
freedom.
there's
I've
less
had
people involved.
less limitations, man.
Yep.
Less limitations.
And,
The guy was a rocket, so I wouldn't have wanted like associated with somebody like that anyway.
Aye, you need to get people out, man.
And
So,
you'd also mentioned about now have the potential to have, you know, IFBBs come and pose.
Yeah,
Last
yeah.
year was amazing. I had the pleasure of jumping on stage and
Anyone see that? Anyone notice that? Guest post? That was
fucking awesome, man.
That was
That's-
one-
Mate,
that was
honestly-
cool as
see,
fuck.
It's one of the coolest parts of the video, like on our YouTube as well. It's like when that guest posing starts, and you're coming up, and you're like that.
so
And
It's
you
a
go
bad
like
idea!
The fact he does this with your hat.
Let's go.
It's so cool, man.
It's
So
so good.
for me, right? So Andy Scott was my first ever coach, and ever since that day,
him.
ever since that day, I know it's like illusions or grandeur, but I was like, Taylor, I was like, see if you just keep doing this, one day you're gonna be able to step on stage with Andy and Jack. And see for me, because these boys were ahead of me. And I've had to fucking work my arse off in terms of my own physique and my own coaching to build the brand and the physique that I have just now, because I didn't have the luxury of starting when these boys were younger like they did. I started later on and I had to climb that shit. And being in that position where I could reflect meant so fucking much to me. It's just because being on there with my brothers and people that I've looked up to for years. And when I'm sat there comparing pictures, I know they're ahead of me. I'm not fucking daft. But like, not looking at a place.
That nobody on that stage looks out of place.
Yeah,
That was
everybody
the amazing thing as well. Nobody looks out of place.
I think I did a bit.
You better.
You were the star.
But like, I thought that was absolutely amazing, man. It was such
so
a buzz
cool,
as
man.
well, man.
Oh,
It was
man.
And
fucking
that's what makes it
hilarious.
different. Well,
You
Federation
see
does shit like
the
that.
wee video meme thing we made? Where it's like the Joe Rogan reaction at UFC.
Oh,
He's like,
yeah.
Cammy taking off his tie and that.
Oh, that was
so
great. Yeah, I remember
Yeah.
that little bit. And that's another thing as well, is Luke does a great job at the after movie thing.
Yeah,
the
yeah,
kind of
the
production.
trailer.
He puts it
How
together
that,
so
yeah.
well,
Mate,
man.
like,
It's just
is
epic.
that happening again this year?
Yeah,
Movie,
he's
great, man.
So he's in
Just the
charge of
music.
all the media. So he's like, he again, like us, we try to take it up a notch as well. He's done the exact same thing.
Good lad, look.
So he's done the WNBF last year. He started doing obviously interviews and try to be a bit quicker with the uploads as well. Try to keep up with the times essentially. So he's done a phenomenal job with that. He's going to be doing the same thing with us. But Darren Mullally, who's probably the most excited person on earth
So
for the
charismatic,
show.
man.
He's coming to
But-
do he's coming to do the interviews for us.
And he's putting his
amazing.
so when again it's like everyone
That's
does
so good,
Yeah,
man.
everyone does
That's so good.
He's
Everyone
just
does
the
it.
right guy.
He fucking
the right
is,
guy.
man.
Right
Yeah.
guy.
see
Dude.
if I watch like somebody who's not in bodybuilding, they're like, how did it go? And I'm like,
No. How annoying is that guy at PCA after the fucking people come
So-
off? He's like, so what were the
What did you
emotions going
think
through this?
about-
Fucking say something else,
It's like,
brother.
yeah, 100%.
But also,
I
so
think
the
he thinks it
advantage-
up on the spot, didn't he? That guy.
He does the
Like,
same
thinks
thing.
it on the spot. It's like,
But the advantage, it's the same as the advantage I have. So Darren's in amongst it, but also he's going to watch the show. So he's going to be able to
And he loves
commentate
bodybuilding.
on exactly what's just happened. Wow, that was close. Like,
That's
how do you
gotta be
feel
so
about
cool.
that? Like, I think, she had a bit more muscle than you, but you were in condition,
That's
and
so
he can
good.
literally, how do you think that went?
so
Like,
good.
he can literally be there in the moment, and he's going to give it everything he's got.
Oh, bro, he is. He fucking is, man. I,
mean,
could
he's
think anyone
flying
better,
up from
man.
Cheltenham. He's
Yeah.
flying from Cheltenham
That's
to
amazing.
come and do this.
This is his dream, by the way.
I know.
Like he
Well
went,
aware.
oh my god, I am blessed. Like he's going to be so appreciative of that.
Yeah.
He's so buzzing for it.
He's
Like,
the first person I thought, like, he's the guy.
He's the fucking right guy. Yeah.
he is. Even when he's on, have you seen him when he's on stage? He's posing and he's like, whoa! I'm like, he is. I think I seen him what was it, an FM show last year, and me and Lindsay were like, this is amazing. And the shot, he was going, hit that side chest, and he was going, whoa! I was like, this is so good. So good, man.
So he's
perfect for it.
definitely the right personality for this. And then we've got it's Luke, man. So we're gonna have the top 3 goes straight out on social media. This is the plan. Like in everything in this show, man, stuff will go sideways, stuff will go wrong.
Absolutely.
And then we pivot and try and keep on course. Like that's always gonna you're herding this giant army of malnutritioned cats. Like some stuff's gonna go awry.
100%.
So the plan is that the top 3 will go out immediately on social media. Then the pose down will go out, and then a class
That's
winner
good.
interview
That
goes out.
is good.
Bang, 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 bang.
That's so good.
Yeah.
So it's like, so it's kind of
what the PCA
it's
do.
PCA do, but that's so good, man. Because you're actually sitting there, see if I've got a PCA show, and you're sitting on a Sunday, and you're like, let's see what's happening. It's all coming out. That's going to be fucking
Yeah.
epic, man.
And then
so good.
that, like, shout out to the PCA. Like, they do things like, and they're so efficient. They're so efficient with stuff.
They are incredibly efficient,
They're
to be fair.
so professional, so efficient. If they say they're going to be done at 5, they are done at 5. Like, if they're doing the social media, it's bang, bang, bang. So we're looking at it like, that's where, like you with Andy, it's like you looking at his lats and be like,
Learn
look at
from
that
it.
session, how do I make that happen? And it's us looking at them being like, how do we get to there? Like, so the PCA being the
standard.
the standard in the UK, it brings us up because we're like, look at that, look at how they do that. Like, so, yeah, we're leveling up. So when, like, I think we now essentially have our own warm-up shows for the Granite now, for the Scottish season.
Yep.
Like, when they come to our shows, I'm all for it. Like, come along. If there's stuff you can take away that's going to make your show better, ace. Like, it's a bit like, but you and your bodybuilding journey, like, we're already like pushing on at the races. Like we'll be 5 years deep, so we're already moving at this pace. PCA is already moving, you know, like a freight train. These people will have to catch up and keep moving.
Yeah.
But what happens is bodybuilding as a whole in Scotland goes up and up and up and up. So as long as we stay on the ball and keep pushing, like the scene should accelerate. It should all level up. That's the overriding goal of everything we do.
I think the culture just keeps, like, every year, it just keeps building and building and building.
Bodybuilding
every year.
It's so it's massive now, isn't it? Like, even I think I'm starting to see a shift even in the youth and stuff like that. Like, you see the days of people going out of town, sitting in a pub, going out to nightclubs and shit like that. Like, I think that's slowly just dying. You're finding more youth people coming up.
It's
in
what
gyms.
I do for bread and butter, man. I can tell you right now, it's a change. Like,
definitely.
See if we get a sports society, one of the venues I look after, like a bunch of the venues I look over have different societies in. If we have one of the sports societies in, now let's go back 10 years. You'd be like, we'll give you 10 bottles of vodka on arrival. You'll get free entry for everyone. We'll give you a 40 shot stick for this, a 40 shot stick for that. No thanks.
Just not anymore.
Pussies, man.
If we could all get like a vodka and orange or something.
That's crazy, isn't it?
Like wimps,
Yeah,
that's one thing I'm glad
I used to play
about.
rugby. I used to go to the skate every Wednesday, man.
They just don't go, like, legitimately, they don't go as hard as they used to at all. And I think it's largely because of, I'm not going to say bodybuilding, but fitness, health stuff.
Just awareness.
Taking care of yourself.
Being way more aware.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's aware of the impact.
Yeah, you can maybe put it down to all these influencers, if you want to call it that, but like, so like the Sam Suleks, the Trent Twins, the C-Bums, that's maybe putting a massive shift in culture as well, which means that the young teams jumping on it early, which means 10 years down the line, you might see some absolute monsters.
I
Everyone's
think
on
you're
like
already seeing them coming out 100%.
Everyone's
you're
in
right.
like a winter arc, training at Pure Gym at 3
I didn't know
in the
what
morning.
that was, by the way. I didn't know what that was until like 3 months ago.
I was unaware of it. I was like, Jesus. It was
That's
making me
what you
cringe.
were on a post break
you
up
don't
winter
even know
arc.
it, aye.
That's what
Well,
you were on.
I was in
My
with-
man was winter arcing before he even knew what winter
Yeah,
arc
so
was.
I train with Luke quite a lot now. And we were in the gym, it was like a Monday night, it's always the busiest night. And he's like, fuck's sake, dude, all these fucking winter arcers. I'm like, huh? I was like, what the fuck is that? And he's like,
And I'm meant to be the
people-
boomer.
People just train. Yeah, but I'm 30, you know. He's like, people who just train over winter and then just go and piss up all summer. That's a winter arcer. I'm like, that's kind of what I'm doing. Prick.
My bad.
Anyway, go back to training. So well, good.
So,
a couple of questions.
to be fair, mate, I mean, if you want to have a look, I've went through all.
Can I ask a question?
I pretty much covered
absolutely.
I have a question. What point did the mustache become a thing? And is it? And I mean, like, it's open to you guys. Like, is it the best mustache in Scottish bodybuilding?
I'd like to. Nah.
Who we talk? Whose
My
mustache?
mustache.
Your mustache.
Is
I
it
would say
the
it's
best?
very strong. So it is like it's thick,
So like the
it's
thing is,
strong,
right? So when I was
prominent.
like when I was like 12 or 12, about 11 or 12, I had like this like mustache grown in. So I've always been able to grow a good mustache. Had no facial hair anywhere, right?
Yeah.
And I hate talking about this because it's fucking embarrassing. But this one year, my parents sent me to like Christian camp for a summer.
Okay.
Yeah.
Ball again.
Fucking bro.
This is taking a
I
turn.
know. Well, we're in a church, so it's only fitting.
Yeah,
It's really
yeah,
fitting.
yeah. House of
and
Gaines.
I came back. I can remember going, man, and I remember this wee fucking. There was this disabled boy who was taking the piss out of me because of my fucking mustache.
Right.
And I was
Smashed him.
Yeah. I wanted to. So I can remember we had this like day out.
It's getting dark.
This like day out. Going to like one of the neighbouring towns, and I was like, this fucking bastard's taking the fucking piss out of me. But like, obviously, I can't fucking do anything, man.
Yeah.
Like, you know, bits and bobs going on. You know, just take it the chin, man. You know, be the good Christian spirit that you are.
Yeah.
Which I'm not, by the way. I'm not.
Stiff upper lip.
I know.
They are
And so I remember I
Christ.
came home and I got a razor. I started
Yeah.
shaving it, and then
Yeah.
all of a sudden, Mum was like, "You'll come back thicker if you do that." And I was like, "Shut up, Mum, it's not." And I don't know if like that just
Wow.
intertwined with like my like puberty going mental at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
But since then, mate, it's like, have you ever seen Evan Almighty?
Yeah.
When he's in the mirror,
Try to shave
he
his beard,
shaves,
just-
goes like that, comes back. So I've just kind of committed to it now.
I can't think of a better mustache.
Dylan
in
Manson, when he was
strong.
involved,
Dylan
was
yeah,
very
yeah,
good.
yeah.
But he's not active anymore. So
No,
well.
no.
Active
Darryl
bodybuilders,
Jones?
True.
Darryl Jones is
Darryl Jones
he
is
had a good one.
pretty thick one.
He had a good one for a while.
I think.
I think he still does. I think he's going to rock at the show. I
Oh,
think his latest
Blair,
check-in.
Big Blair's got a client, Ross.
Ross Walker.
He's got a good stash. He's got a good one as well.
But his is like...
His is a twirly.
Is it? So I
twirl,
used to twirl. I
Yeah.
used to twirl.
Yeah.
I used to see you play that in your stories.
Aye, but
When you were talking, so guys.
But it's so I just can't imagine not having it now.
I couldn't imagine you without it
Yeah.
now. Do you know that way? It does suit you.
I've considered it, but I've shaved
Nah, don't do it.
probably twice since I was 16, and both were in terribly bad times for me. And I don't know if they just like... 'cause the first time I did it, I got made redundant. The second time I made it, I went through a horrific breakup. So I was like, I'm never shaving again. Fuck this.
So basically, if I see you clean shaven again, shit,
I'm not having a great time, man. I'm not having a great time. The Tash will look good.
So I think before we kind of wrap things up, I want to kind of cover like a couple of the competitors. Now I don't know if you guys can openly speak about competitors, but I've seen a couple of absolute killers out there that I kind of want to kind of cover. Someone that's really impressed me is Ali Brown.
Yeah.
So he did the first.
He was our first
Yeah,
overall.
he was the first overall.
We have no, and again, it's by design. Like, we have nothing to do with judging.
You guys aren't
nothing.
judging. Perfect, great.
So, nothing to do, and I don't want anything to do with judging.
Mate,
That's
the
a hard job,
condition
man.
that Ali's in just now, I've never seen him like that, ever like that. You know, like
Is that Ali's calling?
yeah, Ali, yeah. So
Ridiculous.
Ali Brown.
Is he doing the?
Yeah.
Is he doing Granite this year?
I don't think he is,
I
man.
think he's going.
Fuck, he's
doing the hang me after.
he's
I
not.
think.
He's doing PCA.
He's doing
PCA.
PCA
Bastard.
to bros. He
No,
is
not confirmed.
looking nuts.
Well,
He
if
might
you're
rock
listening,
up.
Ali, give it a whirl. In terms of other Class 1 competitors, so who have we got? We've got Big Ali.
Chris Bain.
Chris Bain.
Yeah.
Yeah, Chris Bain.
Actually,
Chris,
I believe Chris Bain's put on 10 kilos since last year.
That's ridiculous.
has he put on 10
months.
kilos though?
He's big.
He is big, man. He is
He's
big.
very, very
it's
big.
all in his arse. It's all, he should do wellness. He should do fucking wellness.
Yeah. He actually asked. He's like, I'm planning on moving to Aberdeen. Can I do Mr. Aberdeen? I was
Yeah,
like,
because
I
I think so. He's actually. I think his partner's up in Aberdeen.
I was
right
like, no, Chris. Unless you present like a driving license with an AB postcode, I'm going to go ahead and say no just now. Maybe next year, but if you're a resident, you know, he's like, oh, right, okay, no worries. But I think Steve needs pushed.
Yeah.
So that's somebody I'm like. Have you seen Steve McDonald's latest update?
Steve's looking good, man.
Aye, we'll talk
And you
about
know
that
what, man?
later.
He was training strongman like 6
Oh,
days
it's
ago.
stupid, man. He does this every
It's
year,
crazy.
man.
Yeah.
People were telling me last year, somebody pointed him out and went, see that classic physique guy? He was deadlifting like however many kilos, like
So he
2
was
weeks ago.
chasing, to give a bit of context, so he's massively developed his lower half, his arse and his hamstrings and that. He was attempting world record numbers like 6 weeks ago, maybe.
Yeah,
6
Like
weeks
he was block pulling 300 kilos and he weighs 73.
That's crazy.
Insane. The guy is a freak of nature.
That's
genetic
genetic
Tell me
phenomenon.
tell me about the first year. We basically shite bag if you
Yeah.
don't Steve McDonald into
Was it a
competing.
week? Was it not 7 days of
Something like that,
dieting?
6 days, and he was
No
just like,
way.
right, I'll stop
That's
eating
crazy.
McDonald's. I think he used like a tan
Eat
from a
shite,
supermarket. Yeah.
He's just made for it, and he's just like something. God just
He
blessed
goes.
him.
He's the nicest dude you'll ever meet. He
He's
comes up.
so
We're like
nice,
chatting
man.
away about his prep, and this was like a week ago, and he's like, "Oh, do you want to see my latest update?" I said, and it was as a post, and he's like, "I'm not posting it though because I didn't.
Such a quiet,
I didn't want to
guy,
seem like
eh?
a dick." Because like this is me after 3 days, and I was like, "What? You're an alien? Like, what is that?"
3 days of just dieting
Yeah,
down.
man. Yeah,
You've
I
never
don't
seen
know
it
why he
like
did
that.
in that 3 days, but I'm like,
And is that natural? 100% natural.
yeah,
That's
natural.
Wow.
Lifetime that.
Wow.
And he,
Imagine that with a sprinkling of.
oh, man.
I think I just blow dart him.
Go-
Like see when he's up and go.
Aye.
It'll be quite good to see Stephen against NVPT.
Yes, that's Darryl.
That's
Darryl,
Darryl, yeah.
right, so-
Darryl had a
yeah,
very
yeah.
strong mustache last year.
Aye, Darryl, you get to fuck your mustache. He's good, bro.
Battle of the mustache.
No, so
Better room
what's
for
good
one
about Darryl
moustache
is
in here.
Daryl's in really good condition now. I've never seen him in that level of
Oh,
condition.
yeah, he's peeled.
And
He
that
competed
was-
with us the first year.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
that
he
was this year, I
competed
believe,
first year.
last time round.
Yeah.
It's because he just wasn't in condition. You
No.
know, if you're standing beside Steve, he's got fantastic shape and insane
Presentation.
condition.
He doesn't fade either.
Oh,
He doesn't
bro.
fade. Carbs up on like grapes,
Grapes.
and 4,000 kilos of potato.
Yeah.
I just he's like
Do you know what my thing about Steve as well? I was like, where's your diet just now? He's like, I don't know, I'm not really counting it. I'm just taking out some potatoes.
So he just eats and looks at
Am I right in
himself.
saying that Catherine
Handballs
does
everywhere.
something like that? Because I'm sure Blair said that she doesn't like.
No,
Does she
Catherine.
track? What does
Catherine
she-
is militant, man. So
Right.
Catherine prepped herself
pish
last
then.
year. The last time she competed. So just to be clear, she won 2 bros. She won
Legend.
PCA. She won the WNBF Pro card. She went to Worlds, came 3rd in the world, and she prepped herself for the whole thing. Now, at various points, she was like, "What do you think about this?" And I went, "Yeah, cool." I don't know. Yeah. You think I look, a bit flat, a bit full? Yeah. But she prepped herself, like 100%. And she just looked like more and more mad. When we went to the Supernaturals, she was on stage, right? And we'd been trying to make her not peeled for a long time for the WMBF because we'd done PCA shows and Two Bros shows, and WMBF prefer a softer look. Yeah. So we're like taking volume down. Food's going up and the opposite's happening. Just getting more peeled, right? But we eventually find a way to make it happen. Or Catherine finds a way to make it happen, to be perfectly honest. Head judge, or one of the judges turns around, because obviously I'm screaming my head off for her. She's won her pro card, and he's like, "Is that your missus?" I'm like, "Yeah, man, yeah." And he's like, "Do you want some advice?" I said, "Yeah, just bring her in maybe a little bit tighter for Worlds." And I just burst out laughing.
Easy.
And he's like,
"Say no more."
Why is it funny? And I was like, "Mate, we've been trying to make her not peeled for about 6 weeks now. Like, this is her, like, no training, no cardio, no food. Just relax, put your feet up." And she just gets better and better and better. So, yeah, she prepped herself. But she is a Nazi when it comes to food. Way out. She's got a degree in nutrition. So she is, like, man, she teaches Cami about gut health, for instance. Like, this is why this isn't working for you digestively. Like, use this, add some of this in, retract that, put that in at this. Like, she's a fucking scientist. So like, she's a pro bodybuilder, and she acts like a pro bodybuilder every day without trying. Yep. Like, we all go like, right, I need to go for cardio, need to make my meals. We all do that. She's been doing it now for 10 years. Like, boom, boom, boom. Like, she's a pro just waiting to happen.
Not a big fan of pizza, though, funnily enough.
A massive fan.
I was going to say it probably is.
After the prep. But yeah, she prepped herself. Now she's with Dan Welburn.
Great.
And she now has an IFBB Pro posing coach. She's worked on her mobility and her posing. And what I've seen in the last maybe 8-10 weeks is her go from, like, she's like a thoroughbred. Like, watching her go from posing and being like a good posing coach in her own right, and being like an elite level, to be like, that's mental. Like, you're a pro bodybuilder. Like, you're posing like somebody on the Olympia stage does now. So being able to contort your shoulders slightly further round versus your hips slightly round versus slight foot placement changes, blah, blah, blah. And she picks up information so well. And the woman she's got teaching her is really good at teaching. So between them, her own mobility work, shout out to Maria and Popo Therapy doing her deep tissue work and stuff like that, she's now able to contort herself into shape. She's being prepped by Dan Welburn. So this year, as long as I go to the shows, if I go to the shows, she wins. That's true. If I attend, she wins. Yeah, if I attend, she wins. That might be down to me just being like, sit down, be quiet.
Yeah.
Here's an espresso. Everyone's going to be okay.
I'll
go deal with
takes
this.
the stress off.
Yeah. So everything I attended last year, she won. Maybe because I screamed that loud, judges were like,
give it to her. Give it to her. Fuck that guy. Give her the win.
Then from watching shows over the years, like literally, like at Two Bros, like they walk out and like,
she just looks
she's
completely
won.
bad.
PCA.
Yeah.
That's such a good feel. You must like see when the lineup comes out, you're like, see it straight away and you're like, done. Do you know what I mean? It's
so
levels.
So, see the coach when that happens, when you're like,
it's that big deal. You feel good.
So Catherine coaches herself. Dan is now like
crazy, just the second eye,
tweaking bits and bobs.
Amazing.
Like she's never pushed us hard this early before. The plan is for pull her in.
Out the gates, kind
of
hard.
She's a pro bodybuilder already, man. She's just waiting for it to happen, really.
Not a matter of if, a matter of when.
Whereas it's just like it takes effort for us. I'm sure it takes work and effort.
It does 100%, man. You've got to. But for some people, it's just like you say with Catherine, just drilled in and.
Is there anyone you're looking forward to seeing on stage with Granite?
You, bud.
Oh, that was cute.
No, I stood about for 2 hours, lads, shooting the shit. So,
jeez,
have you guys got anyone you want to shout out? Anything you want to say? Obviously, you know, plug your socials, plug what's happening. If there's any little bit of information or whatever you guys want to add in terms of vendors, people that helped out, shout, all that sort of stuff.
Can I just touch
Now's
on
the time.
as well. A lot of messages yesterday about Granite merch. If you could touch on that.
Oh yeah.
if there's and we can cut it out of the podcast if there isn't
No,
anybody.
it's fine. So there's a drop inbound, and it'll be at the show specific. Anything that's left over will go on the website. but chances of stuff being left over are very slim.
Yeah,
very,
I'm
very
sure it goes
slim.
like hotcakes.
Yeah.
Like butteries.
Well, consider I said to you before we started about this stuff. Like we sold out the entire run in 13 minutes.
Nuts, man.
And we've never seen someone fly so quick. Like we know it looks good. It's really sick. And then just seeing the stuff fly out the door that quick is like, okay, people really like stuff. So should have more of this stuff on there as well.
So yeah, there's different colorways of this stuff coming, and there's different colors of t-shirt stuff coming. But they'll be at the show. They'll be at the show. So come along, watch a banging bodybuilding show, pick up some free workout from Island Supplement Centre, go see Ollie at Heavy Duty, grab some of our clobber, have a banging day. Like just come see the show, man. Come see the show. And what I really liked last year is that some people went and competed at other shows, competitors, and then they came to our show, and I had conversations with them, and they were like,
What the fuck?
That must feel good.
"What is this?
Yeah.
This is a real bodybuilding show. This is a real bodybuilding show." So
What else was cool last year is seeing people wear our t-shirts at other shows as well.
Yeah.
Shout out like Derek Wilson.
Derek
legend.
Wilson, diehard.
Derek Wilson is like older gent from Fraserburgh, and he competed in our masters class
He's
last
like
year.
a bodybuilding campaigner, man. He like has our flyers, goes to different gyms. He has our flyer like stuck to the back of his car.
Oh, what a guy.
Shares all our posts. Wears Granite clobber everywhere he goes.
You managed to get him to sell a t-shirt, and he wore it at every single show he went to last year.
Yeah.
Like every photo he put up, he was like a picture of the venue.
He drove people from Fraserburgh down to our posing workshop. Again, someone else we do, and it's no financial benefit, but if we can put a posing workshop on the running at the show, it should mitigate a chunk of stress for athletes, especially people getting on stage for the first time. Should lead them out, and also familiarizes themselves with that environment. Like you're around other competitors, you're put through like a bit of a mock stage outing. So again, takes a chunk of stress off. And if they have any questions, who ask us in person, they can. But to be honest, it's more about the posing coaches and the judges. So they get to ask judges real question, like, do you think I should be in this class? Do you think I'm ready? Yada yada. So something else we do.
That's good, man.
In fact, another good point is eval are going to be there.
Yeah,
And
just go around the houses, man. So we've got putting a blood work seminar, eval are coming, and again, education is key in this. So I don't shy away from this environment. Like I think because we all know what goes on in there in the internet. Oh, take this, take that, take that. Go see the experts, get your blood work done.
Absolutely.
Figure exactly what you need. Then we've got a lot of local gyms coming, a lot of independent gyms. Shout out to independent gyms because they support us massively, and that's usually where these monsters are all training. Ollie coming all the way from south of the wall with Heavy Duty and his team. Highland Supplement Centre coming through. Natty Juice Company
No
coming
Juice
through.
is coming up as well.
Greg's coming as well.
Yeah.
Greg's amazing.
Engineer and Muscle are coming. They formulated a Granite specific turbo swole as well, just for the show.
Cool.
Oh, come on.
So cool.
Yeah, they are all the profits from selling that in the day. I think we're either going to donate it as a prize to the most muscular, or we are going to give it away to a dog shelter, because that's close to Dan's heart, and Riz's heart. So I want to do something like that.
Fat Batch is coming back again, so that's the fifth time they've been with us. So mate, they're so good.
They're so good, mate. Trust us, whenever Blair comes down with Chris, I'm like, before you come into the house, let me see that box.
Yeah.
They're amazing, man.
They sort us out every year as well. I think last year they're like, oh, can we get like a picture of your logo? And then it made a heap of like brownies and brookies with our logo on the top
I said
of
to
it.
Chris, I was like, why you got to do like a Granite special?
Yeah.
And she's like, oh yeah. They've not done anything about it, but I was like,
They made a little muscly man cookie or something.
I know.
So
man.
we talk about like it's so simple. That must be really fucking hard.
I
to
know.
do.
I mean, I don't know like, what's like a
It's called-
staple Aberdeen meal. Blair talks about like
Rowies.
bustries. A rowie.
Oh.
What's a rowie?
Yeah.
Oh my god. It's so good, eh?
What is it?
It's so good.
It's so
Is
good
it some
that
sort
I
of
love
seafood?
the
Have you seen me
rowies.
describe it to you, right? You're like, how the fuck do people put that in their body? It's like a pastry, but it's made with lard. And it's quite salty, but you put jam on it.
It's like a
And it
Scotch.
is-
Salt and sweet. Nah. It's like, you know, if you took like a really nice
I'll be up
pastry
next week. I'll have
see
one
when you're
next
up- see
week.
when you're
and
up
then
on
just
it,
like
Right, okay.
slapped it in the floor really hard.
So unhealthy though. It's full of salt,
sounds like
full
cholesterol.
of fat.
I think we're going to hit a
full of
hype about
sugar.
12 p.m, so I'll meet you upstairs in the backstage. We'll be
Yeah,
signed.
mate, unreal. Absolutely unreal. Probably the best thing Aberdeen's got to offer right now. Yeah.
Apart from the Granite.
Apart from Granite.
Yeah.
And Warehouse. Warehouse is fucking
Yeah.
awesome. I love Warehouse.
Yeah, I mean, massive shout out to Warehouse. Results are coming along as
Again,
well.
we've got the
Primal's coming along.
We've got
Talk about
the
Kurt,
mecca of Scottish bodybuilding, like Warehouse, like right in our lap. Like you've got places like the Flex Unit, JP's, us, Forge, all giving bodybuilders like this hub to go and train, pose it, be around like like-minded lunatics. And without them, again, we wouldn't have a show to put on. So massive shout out to them. Touching the fat batch thing quickly, I don't really eat on show day because it doesn't enter my brain.
But fat batch though.
I go through like 14 cans of various energy drinks and a couple of bags of Haribo. Last year I managed I blended like cream of rice or something and drank it before the show. And there was one year I was like, I need to eat something, I'm gonna fucking pass out. And there was like a pile of fat batch stuffed cookies, like the side of stage that we were saving for ourselves. And I was like, I'm gonna, right, quick, it's a bit of a lull in the show. I'm gonna smash a few of these. And they're like that big, like that big. And I was mashing like two of them into my face at once, right? And like, you know, when you're aware someone can see, and I turned round and it was the bikini class. And I'm like, don't look at me. Don't look at me.
That's literally been like their weekly intake in one bite.
And I didn't breathe. I didn't stop. I just kept packing into my face. They looked at me in absolute horror. Like,
Can't
what
wait to try
are you
one.
made of, man? I need this in my life. But yeah, it should be good.
Amazing. Well, thank you both. Is there anything you want to add?
Thank you.
Calvin?
No, thank you so much for coming down. We appreciate you big time. It's an honour to have you on the podcast.
Shout out to you guys for doing this, man.
Keep
Like,
doing what you do,
it's something
man.
the scene is the bodybuilding scene needs. It's something like you guys are shining a light on all these nut jobs in this industry, man. Like again, like
And that's
raising it
what it
up.
is.
So shout out to you guys for doing it.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. We all just kind of vibe and bounce off one another, don't we?
Yeah, man. That's how you should be. Just around the right people, man.
Absolutely.
Around the right people. We've got guys
Absolutely,
like you
man.
supporting us. We'll support you, man. It's beautiful. It's a nice thing. It's a
Yeah.
nice thing.
Well, together we can make bodybuilding great again. Plug.
Get hot.
Right, well, ladies and gentlemen,
Thank you so much.
Thank you for watching episode number 3 of the podcast. Like, comment, share, subscribe. Go and check out all the Granite Boys socials as well. Do the exact same there. I want to see a massive fucking emphasis to get behind this podcast and share it. And I want to see loads of people at the show next week, man.
Get your backside up to the Granite, people. You don't want to miss it.
Lots of love.
Cheers, boys.
Thank you.
Peace.
Thank you.